Hello, listeners, and welcome to episode 226 of the Nigeria Football Weekly podcast. I'm your host, Olu Oke. Today, as you can see, we've got another bumper episode for your listening pleasure, and we're going to be going through quite a few topics because it's safe to say the Nigerian machine was fully firing this week when it comes to the Champions League football games. So just to give a heads up on what we're going to be going through, we'll go through the midweek review, Champions League and the Europa League games currently going on. And then we will touch on Eric Chelle's contract demands, allegedly, which we're still not sure about where that source came from. Then the Super Falcons, thankfully, even though we'll speak about the NFF neglecting them, the Super Falcons have two friendly games against Cameroon scheduled for the end of February and the beginning of March as they prepare towards defending their WAFCON crown, which they won literally less than 8 months ago in July last year. So we'll quickly touch on that. And then, of course, we'll get into the meat of today's episode, going through the Premier League games involving Nigerian players, which resumes this weekend after the FA Cup break last week. And then we'll touch on the other Premier League games, including, of course, the North London derby, which takes on extra significance after Arsenal did some rubbish yesterday. After that, of course, do the top picks for the weekend based on the non-Premier League Nigerian players. And then we'll round up with the ones to watch and then the community call-in and discussion. Just before I get into it, as usual, thank you so much for all the support. If you're watching this video for the first time, please, it would do me the world of good if you could subscribe if you love the content. If you're enjoying this video, please like this video as you enjoy the content as well. The likes go a long way. And of course, if you extra love the content and you feel like supporting us even further, I would love if you could give me a super chat, but that is not compulsory. Shout out to Adam. Shout out to you, Adama. Thank you. First comments. Love to see it, my brother or sister. Welcome. So yeah, starting with the midweek report. As you guys know, you've seen I've started dropping like the little small videos where, you know, if a Nigerian player has done something super amazing and we need to give it special dispensation in terms of overviews, that's exactly what we shall do. So on Tuesday, Nigeria superstar Victor Osimhen, sorry he's cropped out for talking point purposes, but he's still right there somewhere. But Osimhen was in action in the Champions League, and we all know how the game went. Galatasaray absolutely put Juventus to the sword, beating them by 5-2 to take a 3-goal lead back to Turin next week. I mean, what can we say about Rams Park and Galatasaray in general? You know, first Champions League knockout game literally since the 2014 season, where they lost to Chelsea in the round of 16. They conceded 2 goals, Samuel Eto'o and Gary Cahill in 2014. And they've literally had to wait 12 seasons to make another Champions League knockout appearance. These are the kind of moves that at least justified the fact that Galatasaray went to go and spend 75 million euros, which we don't know where they got from, when the previous record in Turkey was 17.5 million euros for El Nesiri. So even if you do basic maths, that's what, 57.5 million euros more than the highest ever transfer in the Turkish Super League. So we'll get into that. But Galatasaray, when you're a team that's been dominating on home soil and all of a sudden you're looking to then dominate, you know, on the continent, these are the kind of moments that justify that kind of outlay or those kind of wages. Because if we look at the structure of the Turkish league, let's be honest, I still don't know how they're managing to pay Victor Osimhen. How much money do Galatasaray make in revenue per year based on their sponsorships, TV money, commercial agreements, all of that? But that is not our problem or our fish to fry. Our fish to fry is the fact that Galatasaray in Rams Park in their first UCL knockout game in 12 years put Juventus to the absolute sword. And it was fantastic, it must be said. You know, you cannot overestimate how big of a game this was. You know, just before the game, obviously, he did his interview with La Gazzetta dello Sport, the Italian publication, which is basically like the biggest sports newspaper in Italy, basically. You know, and he mentioned about how he wasn't treated as well when he left Napoli, but also reiterating that he had a great relationship with Luciano Spalletti, and it's a shame that he could not say a proper goodbye to the Napolitans. But I like how he reminded the whole of Italy who he is and the fact that he is him. Because Osimhen showed a masterclass in how you influence a match without scoring a goal as a striker. Even though he didn't score, he was absolutely instrumental and was the key reason behind Galatasaray winning that game by 5-2. You know, when you even look at the goals, the first goal by Gabriel Sara, it was Osimhen's press that led to it. He took the ball off Yildiz. The ball bubbled around and Gabriel Sara dumped the ball into the net. Yes, Juventus looked like there were signs of life. They scored 2 goals in the first half before halftime, with Tino Cup Miners reminding us of his Atalanta ways, which we have not seen since he moved to Juventus. But he scored 2 absolutely sensational finishes to make it 2-1 to Juventus. But what I really love about Galatasaray is they did not wither or panic. Okan Buruk, their coach, was just like, you know what, guys, we keep it going. And literally in the second half, 5 minutes in, what happened? There was a shot. Noah Lang was there to parry the ball. And then in the 60th minute, after an amazing free kick delivery from Gabriel Sara, Davison Sanchez just had to touch the ball. Honestly, it was a masterclass in how to take a fantastic free kick. But shortly after that, Osimhen continued running, even in the 75th minute, and then he got his just rewards. He was the one who basically made it 4-2 for Galatasaray due to his pressing. I don't know what Juventus were thinking. Kevin Thuram was in the box and tried to pass the ball to Lloyd Kelly inside Juventus' own penalty box. Of course, they didn't see Osimhen. Osimhen just quickly tapped the ball to Noah Lang, who made it 4-2. And as if that was not enough, yet again from an Osimhen press, he won the ball off the Juventus defender, and the ball went straight into Sacha Boey's path for him to slam the ball into the net and to make it 5-2. It was the first time ever Galatasaray have scored 5 goals in the Champions League, so we cannot underestimate how important this moment was. You know, this is what justifies it, and you have to say that when you look at that atmosphere, it made me remember that Morocco-Nigeria semi-final at AFCON last month that I was in. Because honestly, the way they were whistling those Juventus players, it's even a miracle they managed to score 2 goals. But we're here to talk about Osimhen. Even after the match, he was still parrying for Noah Lang. I think because he wanted to score 1 or 2 of the goals during the match, which has been interesting to see. But all in all, what a fantastic performance from VO9 and just exceptional all around. One thing that must be said, like Aaron has just mentioned in the chat, Syria has been terrible. Like, it's so sad because Syria, when it comes to showcasing like how fun a title race could be or how competitive a league can be, no league has been more competitive over the past 5 years than Syria. Napoli have won it twice. Milan have won it once. Inter have won it twice. You even have to go back to the last time Juventus won it, you know. But they keep letting themselves down by their terrible performances in the Champions League. Atalanta lost by more than 2 goals. Juventus lost by more than 2 goals. Even Inter Milan lost by more than 2 goals. Is there another Italian team I'm forgetting? Basically, they were all terrible, is the point. And not even in a small way. Yes, Inter may still go to San Siro and beat Bodo Glimt like next week, but you must say that Syria need to really figure some things out because the way that they're getting dumped out of Europe is not funny at all. And long may it continue. So that was it in terms of Victor Osimhen on Tuesday. And then, of course, on Wednesday, what did we see? The superstars of Nigeria, Club Brugge versus Atletico Madrid. 3-3. I don't know if you guys managed to watch this game. I had it in the corner while I was watching Arsenal disgrace me. But what a performance. It's not every day you have Nigerians starting for either side in a Champions League knockout game. And to even add to that, they were the most decisive players on the pitch. Onyedika basically was a one-man show. I know some people may try and judge Onyedika off his Morocco performance or certain games where he was not up to speed, where he was being misprofiled. But I want to urge you guys to remember how he performed against Uganda. Guys, do you remember that Uganda performance where I even said he was a 10 over 10 during AFCON? Because offensively, defensively, he was so good and so involved in every action on the pitch that nobody could deny how incredible he was. And that's exactly what we saw yesterday from Raphael Onyedika. Like, I wish I was exaggerating, but we'll get into it. Exactly like Aaron said, Onyedika looked like Pogba. I saw a tweet saying that as well online, which I even added in the video that I did today. But what can we say? You know, 3-3, Club Brugge yet again showing their pedigree in Europe. Even though last year they dumped Atalanta out of the tournament and made it to the round of 16 before they got knocked out, unfortunately, they've come back again for more. And they're showing that they're not going to go down lying down. You know, the first half of the game was all Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid even went 2-0 up. You know, Alvarez scored a penalty after 8 minutes after some really shocking mistime jump by this young Belgian centre-back. And the ball just touched his arm. And next thing you know, it was a penalty. And then, as if that was not enough, just before halftime, we saw Alvarez playing a fantastic corner, flick on by Antoine Griezmann, and Lookman was there to literally just prod him the ball with his knee. And next thing you know, it's 2-0. So everybody thought, you know, they're home and dry, and everybody's feeling good about going back to the Metropolitano next week. But Club Brugge said, not on our watch. Literally 6 minutes after halftime, who gets the first goal? Raphael Onyedika. From a corner kick, you know, his teammate heads the ball. The goalkeeper parries the ball, and Onyedika is right there to parry the ball straight into the bottom of the net to make it 2-1. Now, you think that Club Brugge may just try to manage the occasion, but no, none of that. Onyedika, yet again, when he had someone playing in the midfield with him, was able to push up and play as more of a box-to-box player, but also given license to make his fantastic defense splitting passes and just, really, really drive the attack. And that's exactly what he did. Even the second goal, it was Onyedika who was driving towards the Atletico Madrid box, spread the ball out to Mamadou Diakon, the winger who was really, really impressive, for him to just play an sumptuous ball for Tresoldi to literally tap into the net. And that's how it was 2-2. Fair play to Atletico Madrid for not losing their heads, though. They came back, and then Alexander Soloth. Actually, Lookman was taken off in the second minute for Alex Baena. It's probably 2-1. I'm not really sure the thinking there. You must say Atletico Madrid were not fantastic, especially once it was 2-1. But Lookman did his job and scored his goal. But Onyedika was really who I wanted to talk about for his performances in this game. Because immediately after that, yes, with 11 minutes to go, we saw Alexander Soloth force the occasion and force an own goal of Joel Odonez, the centre-back for Club Brugge. I've heard there's great things expected for him, but we must admit that yesterday he had a bit of a shocking match, it must be said. But anyway, Soloth then influenced it, and it was 3-2 Atletico Madrid. But Club Brugge said, we are still not going down. We are still not going down. And yet again, guess who was involved in getting the equalizer for them just before the 90th minute of the game? Raphael Onyedika. You people, anyone who's been on this channel for years, you guys know me. You might as well say I'm a Onyedika PR merchant, but I just know what I see and what I watch, especially covering the Champions League games and also the Belgian League. Raphael Onyedika yet again found himself in space just outside the Atletico Madrid box, surrounded by 4 Atletico Madrid players, but he noticed his teammate Zolis, the Greek attacker, to his left. And if you see this fantastic ball he played into him one time, and all Zolis had to do was drill the ball straight into the bottom corner past Jan Oblak. And it was 3-3. I mean, to show you how great Onyedika's performances were, just hear these stats for those of you that have not seen the video today. 3 shots himself alone, central midfielder. All 3 shots on target. His expected goals alone, him, 0.56. Expected assists, 0.15. 2 key passes, including 1 big chance created, which was the equalizer. Passes into the final third, 13. Backward passes, 14. So this is a man that does not discriminate, everywhere can go. He completed 90% of his passes in this match and completed all 5 of his long passes forward in the match, just so you know. 88 touches on the ball, was fouled once, was not dribbled past any time, won the ball in the final third of possession at least 3 times. That means in the danger area for Atletico. If that does not tell you someone who's very good at pressing, I don't know what is. Apart from that, he was dribbled past 0 times, as I mentioned, and he still managed to still get 1 clearance, win his 2 tackles, which he attempted in the game, so 100% success rate, and also recovered the ball 7 times. Guys, if this is not a footballer, as we say, Oye ball and Oye magic from AFCON, then I don't know what is, man. I just have to give Onyedika his praise. He was absolutely fantastic. And these are the kind of things I like to see from Onyedika. Look at how he can handle the Champions League big nights and bright lights. There's someone will now be telling me he should go to sign for Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga. Get out of here. If you do not play in the Champions League in the top 5 leagues, please do not come and take Raphael Onyedika. We're not going backwards. Forward ever, backward never. So, guys, maybe, I don't know, a Leipzig or Dortmund, even one of these Serie A teams, AC Milan look like they'll end up second in the league and come back to the Champions League. Onyedika can do a job in your midfield. So I hope yet again we'll deep dive in the summer about these our players and their agents. At least we've seen some good moves to Atletico Madrid, Leipzig, Porto, Marseille in January. So long may it continue this summer. And even though there will be no World Cup for Onyedika to showcase his talents, this is clearly a player that is destined and made for bigger and better things. So that is definitely the hope that we're going to see in this game. And that'll be amazing to see. Just to shout out to the comments. Shout to everybody in the comments. Exactly. Aaron said, Onyedika look like Pogba. I already said that one, I believe. Good to see you, Jackson. Shout out to one of our revered members. Good to see you, Da Vinci, always with the great comments. He said, evening, Olu. This week's game has shown how great Osimhen is. Look at their rivals. Oh, I'm getting to Fenerbahce, my bro. In fact, I love that you're already preempting one of my talking points. We're going to get to this league. And Fenerbahce getting thumped by Forest away. We'll get into that. Honestly, that is the perfect summary of what I was trying to say. Shout out to Charles. Charles says Onyedika is too important for Bruges. He has to leave this summer. Exactly like I just said. Shout out to that statement. FM Singh, shout out to you, my brother. He says Onyedika and a baller. Honestly, big baller. Aaron said AC Milan's a good place for Onyedika. Exactly. Let him go and learn from Modric and take over. Honestly, man. Honestly, man. Oyedinho, Onyebo, Oye Magic. Honestly, what a player. Shout out to you, Charles, man. I'm doing very good. Thank you. Hope you are. Obviously, thank God for the podcast. Allow me forget Arsenal's nonsense. But I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. And I hope you are as well. And your family is. Jackson says Victor is getting better. That's true for sure. And we'll get into that, like we just mentioned, with his performance. So apart from placing Raphael Onyedika, we still have to give Lookman small praise as well. He scored on his first ever Champions League appearance for Atletico Madrid, and it was a decisive goal to make it 2-0 at the time. Yes, it ended up 3-3, but in my opinion, Lookman has done his job. You know, Simeone even tactically tried to experiment with certain things and moved Lookman from the wing where he was already dominating and put him as a second striker. But I saw some Atletico fans saying they were not happy with Simeone's tactics for the game. But left to me, Lookman did his job. He now has 3 goals in 5 games and 2 assists. That's minus the influence is already shown in the game against Betis, against Barcelona, and now in the Champions League. The only thing left is for him to rewrite this La Liga debut because he's played twice in La Liga and they've lost both games. Yes, the second one, he had to come off the bench with 27 minutes to go, but we're still waiting for liftoff with Lookman to score his first La Liga goal. And by God's grace, that will come this weekend when they play Espanyol on Saturday night. But in terms of the Copa del Rey, we already know what he's done against Betis and Barcelona. And in terms of the Champions League now, we already know what Lookman has done. In fact, let me confess, I tried to see if I could get a press pass to go to Madrid next week, but I don't think we're big enough yet for them to give me the appraisal. But one day we'll get there and we will go and watch Lookman and make sure we get the content that you all deserve on this channel for all the support. So shout out to Lookman and what a fantastic performance. Shout out to Charles. Charles says, I pray us now with DPL for Lusik. Amen. No. But honestly, one thing I'm learning, especially like football is the most important, non-important thing in the world. Hear me out. Think about this community. Think about how football does to us. Think about the dopamine we're able to get every single day. You know, even this weekend again, there's football tomorrow. But the older I get, especially now that I'm almost, I'm not one of those people that's like scared to say my age. I'm almost 33 in 3 weeks' time. You know, I was born in 93, turning 33 in 3 weeks, you know, the 3rd month of the year, all of that. But you really learn that sometimes don't go and die on the hill of millionaires. After that match, do you see Saka would have gone home to his influencer girlfriend, fiance? He would have collected his 300,000 a week, and it's me that should be carrying headache for us now. Nah, mate. Especially when I'm watching the Super Eagles. That's why January and December I could care less what Arsenal did because I love Super Eagles more. And if they don't want to ginger themselves, then it's not me that will suffer. I don't want to be hypocrite and tell you that it doesn't matter. And Arsenal losing does not affect me. But it doesn't affect me like it affects me when I was 16 years old or 20 years old or 25. Like, bro, everybody will be okay. If we can be okay with Nigeria missing the World Cup, then I think we can be okay for anything else, my bro. So shout out to you for that comment. I appreciate you, Charles, for all the support. Who else was in action for the Super Eagles? Well, we saw Bruno Yemechi in action for Olympiacos against Leverkusen at home. This is one of those games that definitely reminds Greece where they are on the totem pole of UEFA coefficients. In fact, the irony of this is Olympiacos played the exact same opposition by Leverkusen literally in January, in March day 7. And guess what? Olympiacos beat Leverkusen 2-0. But guess what? When it comes to crunch time, when it's the Champions League, that's why I like the Prem especially. And even the Bundesliga, we have to give Dortmund their props especially. And also La Liga, especially Barcelona and Real Madrid. That's when you realize whose league carries shoulder more than the others. Because this was a masterclass in how to get a smash and grab away win. The first half was all Olympiacos. In fact, El Kabi scored a header. He thought it was done, but his teammate was offside. I've forgotten it was offside in the play while he headed the ball into the net. So that goal got disallowed. Obviously, Nathan Tella is still injured. So that one, we just have to pray for him. Then we'll see what happens to his Super Eagles career. But literally, Patrick Schick. Guys, we have to talk about Patrick Schick. Do you guys remember Euro 2020, which was played in 2021, where Patrick Schick scored that lob goal from like 60 yards over Scotland? There's a way and a time when Patrick Schick was such a hot striker, that everybody in Europe wanted him. It was on everybody's lips. But what happened? All of a sudden, Xabi Alonso comes to Leverkusen and just decides that he prefers Boniface, who he just signed from Union Saint-Gilloise. And Boniface started most of the games that season, even though he was injured. We know Boniface scored over 20 goals that season. I think it was 21 or 22, and played a very pivotal role in terms of Leverkusen winning the domestic double. Of course, they lost the final to Superstar right there. But when you think about the fact that Boniface was so far ahead and Schick was literally getting slave minutes, what I love about Patrick Schick's mentality is once that 2024 season was over, go and watch Patrick Schick's record last season and also this season for Bayer Leverkusen. He is one of the big reasons why Bayer Leverkusen were like, Boniface, we're done with you, man. Keep it moving. Yes, I love to see the sympathy on social media for Boniface, and we wish him well. But let's be honest, can we compare his professionalism to someone like Patrick Schick? I highly doubt it. We're yet to see it. But, of course, this is a player that we know the kind of potential he has. But the point anyway is Patrick Schick, shout out to you for resilience. And he scored 2 absolutely cracking goals. The first goal, he received the ball from Enes Poku, the Dutch under 21 international. He should go and play for Ghana, left to me. If you see this fantastic ball he played to Patrick Schick, took it in one stride and just placed a fantastic finish past the goalkeeper. And then 3 minutes later, you see the bullet header Patrick Schick scored these guys. Literally 2 goals in 4 minutes, and that was the end of the game. And it stayed that way. Onyedika, as usual, came off the bench for what I call charity minutes. He came on in 82nd minute when the score was already 2-0 to the visitors, and he wasn't even able to do that much. So you have to say that, unfortunately, this tie is dead and buried. There is no way Leverkusen are going to lose by more than 2 goals at home at the Bay Arena. It's not possible, But Onyedika, well done to you for playing the Champions League still an achievement and making the knockout rounds. Nathan Tella will take it from here with his teammates, and hopefully he'll be back to play the next game when they make it to the next round. So that's really it, I like this thing about Jackson saying Champions League final against Barca. Maybe realize that I can't kill myself. Bro, we can never kill ourselves over football, man. Like, yes, I love football with my heart, and I will do everything in my life because of football. Football and music, those are my 2 passions. There's no concerts. There's barely any artist I love I haven't gone to see in concerts in this London. But we cannot come and kill ourselves. Nah. If you told me in my lifetime Super Eagles will miss 2 World Cups, 2 back-to-back, I would have called you a liar, especially with this golden generation. So it is what it is. And I agree with Michael's take there. If Arsenal wants to win the EPL, they should get Osimhen. But I'm going to get to Arsenal. Arteta, we'll get there. Just bear with me real quick, guys. So, anyway, that's it for Wednesday's games and the Champions League games involving Nigerian players. Now, of course, we know that Thursday is the day for the Europa League fixtures as well as the Conference League fixtures, and we've had quite a few games involving our Nigerian players take place already today. Unfortunately for Christian Uche, I'm not sure if he's injured, but he was not in the match day squad for Crystal Palace in their match earlier today in the Conference League round of 16, where they played Zrinjski Mostar of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Ismail Assar put the visitors up 1-0, but they still managed to concede an equalizer, and that game ended 1-1 earlier today. So we'll see what happens to Christian Uche this weekend when Crystal Palace get back to Premier League action. Also, most impressively for me today, all I know are Nottingham Forest, and we'll get to Da Vinci's comments. Now, guys, I don't know if you noticed, Nottingham Forest went to Fenerbahce. By the way, Fenerbahce and Galatasaray are the 2 best teams in Turkey. Even though Galatasaray have been battering them in terms of winning the league titles over the past 3-4 years. Go and look at the number of points Fenerbahce have been racking up in the Turkish Super League over the past 2-3 seasons. But yet again, last season, same thing happened under Mourinho. They got dumped out of the Europa League so easily. I can't even remember who they played, but I think it was a Serie A team. Was it Roma? They got absolutely thrashed. But yet again, look at how, apart from Galatasaray, Fenerbahce played a Europa League knockout phase game at home today against Nottingham Forest. Relegation threatened Nottingham Forest. This is just to show you the power of the Premier League. And guess what? They got thumped 3-0. 3 unreplied goals in your backyard. Even with the atmosphere. Nah, man. As much as Galatasaray and Osimhen are doing their best to push the reputation of the Turkish league, I like these reminders that really tell us the gap and how wide it is. Nottingham Forest are what in the Prem? 17th? I'm pretty sure they're still 17th. West Ham have not yet gone past them. And look at how they made an example out of these guys. It was so bad. Like, Igor Jesus literally has 9 goals in the Europa League now this season. And Nottingham Forest are 3 points off safety in the Premier League. Igor Jesus scored 2 absolutely fantastic goals to make it 2-0. And then, of course, Morgan Gibbs-White. Well, the second goal was not that fantastic, but good corner anyway, to make it 2-0. And then Morgan Gibbs-White just wrapped up the points in the second half. Ola Aina himself came away with the clean sheet. Yet again, another outstanding performance from the right back. Composed whenever he had to be there. Every time Fenerbahce had an attack, they needed to clear the ball. You see the ease with which Ola Aina was just playing this match. Honestly, I miss Ola Aina so much for Nigeria, man. I miss him so much, man. So honestly, Ola Aina and Nottingham Forest, thank you for flying the Premier League flag high and for delivering such an exceptional performance. It was fantastic. Yet again, that tie is done, game over. It's done. Fenerbahce, just come and, I don't know, get their players to come to Nottingham, stop in London, go to the Turkish restaurants we have. Come on, enjoy your culture in a foreign land, but because there's nothing you come to do in the city ground. You absolute waste of space of a like, that's a bit harsh, but when you lose 3-0 to Nottingham Forest to a 17th in the Prem, you deserve the smoke. I'm sorry. They were absolutely shocking. Shocking. And you know how, like, when you watch some Turkish teams or like the Argentine teams or some South American teams, where they'll be trying to like hustle for like some dodgy penalty or foul. Just go and watch Fenerbahce in that game. Very, very, very despicable club, it must be said. And that's who they wanted Lookman to sign for. Can you see why we were also happy when he signed to Atletico Madrid? Forget the money. Look at what he would have been embarrassing himself doing. All I know, will now message him after the match and be like, everybody, look, see how he beat the shit out of your team. Nah, man, we don't want that. We don't want that at all. So, shout out to Nottingham Forest, and what a fantastic performance from the Premier League. Guys, also, Giresun's Genk were in action and got a fantastic 2-1 away win at Dynamo Zagreb earlier today. Really, really good performance from them. The only problem is, even though they won by 3-1, I know that Giresun did not start the game, but he came off the bench as they delivered a fantastic 3-1 win in the Europa League against Dynamo Zagreb. In fact, they were 2-0 up until the 44th minute. Then Zachary El Udi added a second to make it 3-1. And this guy is, of course, Moroccan, plays for the Moroccan national team. Right back with 2 goals. Fantastic. We love to see it. And that was literally the end of the tie. Who else did we see play earlier? That was it for the Nigerian players playing in the Europa League early. But right now, as the 8 p.m. games are going on, Kelechi Iheanacho is on the bench for Celtic as they play Stuttgart. I've got the game in front of me right here. Celtic are losing 2-1 to Stuttgart after 29 minutes, which is no surprise. German Bundesliga versus the Scottish Prem. It was always going to go one way. So let's see how this game ends. We've got Bamidele Yusuf, the Ferencváros winger, in action against Ludogorets at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on how that game's going. Also, we know that Cyril Dessers is injured, but let me see if Salim Fago is playing this game. Is Salim Fago starting for Victoria Pilsen? I would love to hope so. Sorry, I didn't get to check just before I started. Yes, Fago is starting. Amazing. Fantastic to see. While Desert remains injury prone. So we'll keep an eye on how Salim's doing. This is what I love about that move, as I already said. And the fact that he's getting to play in these kind of high-profile games can only do his career a world of good. Actually, Bamidele Yusuf has actually opened the scoring for Ferencváros to tie the game 1-1 against Ludogorets. So shout out to Bamidele Yusuf, a player that I've been mentioning on this channel for a minute now. He's starting as one of 2 strikers today, but I know normally he plays as a right winger. So fantastic work by Bamidele Yusuf, and hopefully you could do some more damage for the next 60 minutes in that game. Who else is in action that I have not mentioned? I think that is it. Actually, we've got one more player who plays for Crvena Zvezda, basically Red Star Belgrade. That's one of the names that I really, really struggle to pronounce. So Nigeria center back Franklin Tebo Uchenna. He's already 26 years old, but this is a player that just made a move to Red Star Belgrade literally last summer. He's made one cap for Nigeria when they used to send MPFL boys to go to America to play friendly match against Mexico. Remember that 4-0 that Mexico gave us? Pinnick. Let's not swear for Pinnick, Sha, but we all know it affected our world ranking. You go and collect money from America because you want to do friendly match. During the season, you now send MPFL boys to go and collect 4-0 and banish our entire, just remove like 40 points from our rankings because of selfish as a man. But anyway, Uchenna is in action right now and it is currently 0-0. Yes, 0-0. They're playing away against Lille. So let's see how that game ends up. So that's it in terms of the midweek games involving Nigerian players, both the games on Tuesday and the games on Wednesday. As you guys will see with my poll, I have tried not to just keep the poll to just asking people to like the video. But if you've already been with us for 30 minutes, it would do me the world of good and it would make my day if you could please like the video. I know people have. Let me just quickly check. This is the good thing about live chat. You can be talking and discussing. Just 9 likes. Come on, guys. Come on. I can see 43 people watching the live show. We got 9 likes. Come on, my people. Please, 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 if you're liking the content, please do me the favor and just like the video and subscribe if you're new on here. Just to go a few comments before I change over. Honestly, Aaron, the Turkish league is so crazy to me too, my bro. Thanks for the confirmation, Marco. I must have missed that. Uche has been deregistered from the Conference League squad. That's really bad, though. Conference League, that was his only source of getting minutes. I totally missed that. That is an absolute shame. Jackson said EPL will soon have 6 teams in the Champions League if other countries are not ready. I mean, that's exactly what we had this season anyway. We might as well just say it's a formality that the Premier League will be having at least 5 teams in the Champions League each season. The only way we can have 6 this season is if Nottingham Forest win the Europa League, which you have to admit is not that inconceivable. Or Tottenham win the Champions League, which, let's be honest, there's no chance of that happening. In fact, speaking of Tottenham, I hope Galatasaray draw Tottenham. Do you know that I was in the comments fighting on the Athletic because one Tottenham fan was writing that Lookman and Osimhen should sign for Tottenham, and I felt so insulted. That unambitious club that just care about concerts and festivals and NFL games. I couldn't even believe they thought Lookman and Osimhen could sign for them. But what I want is for Galatasaray to be Juventus and then go and play Tottenham. And then give Tottenham water. Because I want Osimhen to enhance his reputation in England. The good news is, regardless, Galatasaray's next opponents are going to be Liverpool or Tottenham. So either way, he's coming to England. But let me not lie to you. If Liverpool catch Galatasaray, anything Galatasaray see, they should take it like that. But Tottenham, nah, come on. In fact, I can't wait to watch what's my boy against them. Honestly, let's see Osimhen in London. In fact, I'll even try and get tickets and go to that game since it's gonna be down the road in North London from here. So we'll see how that one goes. Sam Nelsie, my bro. Nelsie said for Olusegun, Arsenal should win. If not, as I always say, Nelsie was my high school bunk. We were both in Blue House. So you know those guys, you've been talking football since you were 10 years old every day. And that time I went to boarding school in Faith Academy. So Covenant University's secondary school. So everything is contraband. So all you do is play football and talk football. So Nelsie, don't worry. I know God will not let me down. Whether it's the Prem or the Champs, I need one. And I know you guys are going to help me when City come to Stamford Bridge anyway. So shout out to you for that comment. And Aaron says Galatasaray can definitely beat Tottenham, 100%. So let's see how that game goes. Okay, so that's it for the midweek games. And of course, I'll keep my eye out on how Salim Fago's doing or Ian Achor and Bamdele Yusuf going forward. But I'm sure you all saw the news today. To be honest with you, I'm not even sure how credible the source is. The only reason why I added it to the list of topics today is because I saw it posted by renowned French journalist Romain Molina. He's an expert on French football, and he posted this so-called proposed terms by Eric Chelle. Well, if anybody does not know, Eric Chelle actually switched his management. So literally yesterday it was confirmed by Osasu or Bayawan, even though that guy can be so rude there sometimes. But he said Eric Chelle has officially moved to a new management team, which is his right. The same way players change agencies, coaches are allowed to change agencies. Now, one thing I must also commend you is, look, same way players strike for new contracts when their leverage is highest. If you're Eric Chelle, you're only being a smart man. I always tell people forget that Eric Chelle was born and raised in France. This man is not stupid. Yes, he may have black skin, but that does not give NFF the right to treat him like they would treat homegrown coaches or African coaches, because you know the NFF, they respect white man more than black man. Let's be honest. There's a reason why they tried to hire Finidi George so they could be lowballing him and they can be funneling Benjamin Tanimu. But Eric Chelle has rightfully enhanced his reputation by taking the Super Eagles job, which was probably at a cut price deal because we know Gusau and NFF did not want to pay him, which they are still owing him money for. He has now done exceptional work and shown us the kind of football our Super Eagles are capable of playing in 25 years, even though, yes, we won AFCON under Stephen Keshi. But you have to admit, the first 5 games of AFCON this year, I've never seen Nigeria play that brilliantly since the year 2000. You know, Eric Chelle is rightfully trying to use his leverage, and that's normal. And at the end of the day, he owes no loyalty to Nigeria. This is a country that can't even pay him his wages on time. I remember being in the same hotel as him in Marrakesh. This man is such a nice guy, serene on his own. He's not one of those players that's like super policing the players. So he has the right to ask for his demands and he delivers on the pitch. So if you want him to stay, especially because we know these as our men, they're in big soup. They've used this petition to distract us because in any normal society, that whole board should have resigned. You've missed out on a World Cup for the second straight time. You have no credible stadiums in your country. Nobody should mention that Oyo Stadium again. Don't make me annoyed here. You know, we have our underage groups are in a state of disarray. Even the Super Falcons that give us joy. Have you seen the way the NFF have been mismanaging them? Canceling friendly games up and down, canceling tournaments. The last international window, they didn't even play any games. But yet, the NFF will then demand they must win the AFCON in a few weeks' time. Meanwhile, you're giving them friendlies to play Cameroon because that's what you could scramble last minute to find. But yet, you see these people, they will not do what they're supposed to do. But yet, the one person that is just keeping everybody happy, Eric Chelle, because of the AFCON performance, is who they don't want to pay. And I told you guys last week, all those as a men that will say, I told you Gusau is not the smartest man in the world. God forgive me for saying that. I hope that's not too harsh. But how can you know that somebody is in high demand? You're very aware that he does not need to wait for the end of his contract to renegotiate. And he comes to you with new demands because he knows he's, flavor of the month. At least in Africa, there's almost no country in Africa that will not snap up Eric Chelle. After they saw what he did with the Super Eagles, we were the butt of jokes in Africa, whether we like it or not, as recently as the middle of November. And in the space of less than 2 months, Eric Chelle restored hope and pride and dignity in the Super Eagles. Then Gusau will go there and say, he signed the contract already, and there's no need for us to renegotiate, as if you're not silly. When Saka signed his first contract as an Arsenal youngster, is it the same contract he signed in 2020, where he has now proven himself for a few years? And this international football, tournaments are your leverage. So I do not hear all that nonsense from Gusau and those, let me choose nicer words. Those people that are smart but refuse to do the right thing in the glass house. Let's just leave it at that. So in fact, just so you guys all know, everything in these so-called demands from Eric Chelle, they are very, very normal in a functioning society. This is the head coach of your most important sporting brand. Literally the only brand in your country that keeps the whole country happy. There is nothing else in Nigeria that unites every 36 states plus FCT like football. I'm sure there's parts in Nigeria where they'll tell you Whiskey's music is haram. Don't play secular music. But you see the Super Eagles, everybody is happy. I've saw it both living in Nigeria, both being in Morocco. I see the way it brings joy. And then Eric Chelle is the head coach of this team. Do you know how much pressure is on his shoulders? And then they're telling him that, we will not be renegotiating his contract. I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is going on? And then you see a lot of Nigerians with this crabs in a bucket mentality. Oh, how can he be asking for such demands? Do you know what is standard? I think sometimes because people are so used to mediocrity and accepting nonsense from Nigeria and the NFF in general. we don't realize what's a normal demand. Even the wages he asked for, allegedly, $130,000. That's what Osimhen earns literally in 4 days' time. In 4 days. And he said that's his monthly salary. Rightfully so, since you're going to put all the pressure on him and he's managing the most populous black nation in the world, he should rightfully be served with all the tools he needs to perform that job. So I just wanted to say that out of everything I saw, I did not see anything crazy or concerning from his demands. And I want to be absolutely clear about that. Because the way Nigerians would gaslight somebody for asking for his just due after they were enjoying the performances and the good vibes he was bringing them in January is not lost on me. Eric Chelle has nothing to lose. Thank you very much for saying that, Abby. And like I said, this guy is a French citizen. Let's stop acting like he's not a European citizen. I think it's because they think he's Malian that they think they can. Like Franco-Malian. He's used to a certain standard. He lives in Marseille. It's why we're even thinking of the fact that we know he went to see Tochukwu Nadi. And then also, we know that he's even, if I'm him, I'll start talking to Etanueneri while he's in Marseille. You know, send JJ over there. Send Tai over there. Let's have a conversation and see what's going on. So just so you guys know these so-called demands that I included, I'll mention all 19. And tell me if any of this sounds unreasonable for the head coach of the most important national team in fact, let's just say most important national team in Africa, since we're biased as Nigerians and we really know it anyway. So, private car with chauffeur and security. How many normal citizens have that one? Talk less of head coach of national team. House in a well-secured environment with 24 hours uninterrupted power supply. Only Nigerian and the coach will have to ask for light to Jesus. I think that's feasible. I'm sure Amaju Pinnick is living in a house with 24-hour electricity. I'm sure his beach house in Lashe has 24-hour electricity. So he should be able to do that. Furnished office with projector for analysis. Bro, these are the basics, guys. Internet provision, basics. Flight tickets for wife and 2 children. He even was nice enough, said children economy, me and my wife business class. Yes, as the head coach of Nigeria, you deserve business class tickets. I see no problems. GPS provision, I see no problems. Supply of proper equipment in accordance to the coach's demands. Give me the equipment to do my job. Does that sound unreasonable to anybody? Hell no. But NFF, they are used to giving people mediocre nonsense. So normal demands sound crazy. It still blows my mind that there's sections of Nigerian society that they'll be owing them salary for 3, 4, 5 months. It's normal. While we are working, it's not normal. Then you now see Gusa come and tell you it's because the government are late to process payment. Why are they late? Why can't you give us an excuse that is positive for once? Oh, what does he say? Based on the opponents, the coach has the right of choice regarding international friendly matches. That one is hearsay, but you know why he's saying it. There's no friendly match England would sign off on that they've not consulted Thomas Tuchel on. Brazil will not play a friendly game without asking Ancelotti. Wagwan. Same with France and Deschamps. It's not going to happen. In fact, let's even remove the so-called big countries. Ireland, Scotland. What's that guy that was ex-assistant coach under Mourinho? Steve Clark. Scotland's manager. There's no way Scotland will play a friendly match without asking him for his input or if he's happy with the selection of the friendly and if he's happy with the reasoning and the rationale behind choosing the friendly match. So that one is not a crazy question or request. Obviously, it's not just his say, but with other people, that makes sense. Camping programs, basics. The coach will initiate programs for youth development. He's even trying to help us. Provisions for the coach to travel, watch, monitor, and engage players of national team abroad. That's just basic. Basics. It's not his fault that the Naira has fallen down in value since everybody wants to stand on mandates. And we're all acting like this is normal. When I left Nigeria, pound was 250 Naira to 1 pound. And we thought it was bad in 2009. And now it's almost 2,000 pounds. 2,000 Naira for 1 pound. And everybody's just smiling. Let's stand on the mandate now. Let them change national anthem and everybody will smile. No problem. That's why somebody asking for provisions to watch the players that he would then use to then decide whether he's doing his job well or not. That is not reasonable at all. Provisions for the coach to travel to watch the local league to identify potential players that will be integrated into the senior national team under 23, under 20, and under 17. Basics. Basics. Guys, basics. It's not his fault that in Nigeria we don't have a credible trade network. In Morocco, I went to 4 different cities. I took the train everywhere. And it not cost an arm and a leg. And Moroccans, there's still poverty there because you see the way they beg. Yes, their GDP per capita is now times 4 of our own. But let everybody be supporting nonsense now. We'll still be here. They be saying I'm Yoruba, let them put so as Yoruba. As if it's a tribe that leads to good governance. We'll all be here now, don't worry. What else did he say? No interference in team selection and players call-up. This one is even the most important demand for me. Salim Fago, we love you. We hope you score today. But even you, Salim Fago, you know you do not deserve to go to AFCON. Usman Mohammed that wasted somebody's spot did not smell the pitch and plays in the Israeli 2nd division. Gusa will now come and give interview and say he has never influenced selection. So you glasshouse men, somebody will come and tell us who invited these players into the national team. Somebody must tell us because we must understand. Since you refuse to do press conferences when you announce a national team list, that is Nigeria's forte. Till today, nobody realizes how stupid that is. They even released a Super Falcons list today, yet no press conference. Even if you say you don't want to do a press conference, you can get the manager to record a quick 3-minute video explaining his selections. Drop it on social media, but nobody's thinking. As usual, I don't see any problem with that ask. NFF has to issue a working contract for my staff. I'm glad he's calling out this nonsense. Have you guys heard that a lot of the assistant coaches in Nigeria, they don't even give them a proper contract? Those 2 Nigerian assistant coaches that coach MPFL teams, I heard a few months ago that they don't even have official contracts with the NFF. Guys, standards. Like, these are things that if I spoke to my mate Charlie, who's born and raised in England and doesn't know anything about Africa, he'll be like, you're kidding me, mate? Really? They work with no contracts. What? They don't do press conferences when they announce the list. Even they will literally be dumbfounded. But these are things that somebody put the request here. They go on Twitter, you see some donkeys telling you that this is request is a lot too. What is a lot? He is the coach of the most important sporting team in the whole country. The only thing that brings the country joy. I love this so much. Salary needs to be paid on or before the 30th of every month. All of us that live abroad, it's not normal. They'll pay you either on the first day of the month or on the 28th or the 27th or the 29th. Eric Chelle is just asking for them to maintain the standards he's used to from living in France. Simple. That's not crazy. And we know that for the past over 30 years, even before I was born, NFF have been owing coaches salary. When you've been doing something in an incompetent level for so long, it means it's not just individual. It is institutional failure. It means there's a level of mediocrity that has seeped through the entire system and everybody's happy to be mediocre. Then Amaju will now go and give one interview and tell us we're going to have pitches as good as Morocco by next year. That guy has no respect for us. I'm telling you, man. He thinks we're all stupid. That's the only conclusion I have from Amaju and the things he says. When you were president, you did not implement good stadium, but now you will. Then you're telling us if you're NFF president, you would have made the World Cup. Who was NFF president in 2022 when we missed out? And you're saying, do you know what it means for Nigerians to go there? Who was NFF president when we missed out on AFCON in 2017 and 2015? Tell us who, Mr. Pinnick. Tell us very well. Tell us whose village it is that they are building that stadium with the that it takes 3 hours to travel by boats. Mr. Pinnick, since we're all stupid, and you think you're talking to people that are not well educated, let's keep going. Pay him his salary. He also says bonus and allowance as per federation structure. Very simple. Pay me my bonus and my allowances based on what you give. I'm sure he sees all the Azamen and how many of them were in Marrakesh. Guys, it was ridiculous. There were so many of them. I was wondering what the hell are these people doing here? And if it's to celebrate Nigeria's success, you see them there. But when it's time to cough out the funds and make sure that there's an ecosystem working well, all of a sudden, we have to wait for NSC. Hey, we have to wait for this. Even, do you know the NFF are so incompetent? They're even the ones we need to blame for the lack of allocations we had in the Nigeria-Morocco semi-final. Look at the amount of places Senegal had compared to us. But when you like to be incompetent, I don't know what's going to change their psyche. They bask in mediocrity. Then Pinnick thinks, oh, if I shape down my white beard well and come and try and sound like I speak well, all of a sudden people will fall for my nonsense. He will go on Arise News. Those people will be pandering to him. Nobody will tackle him properly. I don't get it. Then Nigeria is just a cesspit of fake news. So we don't know what to even believe. So good. I love that I said, request to include my PA in the bonus and allowance structure. How can the old head coach of Nigeria not have PA? Let's use our common sense now. Proposed salary of $130,000 monthly. This amount includes all my technical staffs and PA. To show you how this man is even trying to give Nigeria some leeway and nuance. He didn't say the $130,000 is just his salary. It's including the assistant manager salary, the goalkeeping coach, the fitness coach, if we have a fitness coach, data analyst, PA, and everybody who works with him in the ecosystem to make sure that the team is as well prepared as they possibly could be. This is even chicken change when you consider what Wally Reguagui is earning in this continent. We have managers in Africa earning far more than this. Hugo Bruce, go and check his contract. But yet again, crabs in the bucket. This man is asking for too much money. I'm sure I would see some stupid comment about this man missed the World Cup as if it was his fault. His own record in World Cup qualifying was flawless, so don't be deceived by the fact he had to play penalty shot against Congo. If he prosecuted those first 4 games, we would not have had to deal with that nonsense. In fact, if the NFF even hired him 3-4 months before they hired him in January, and we know why they hired him because they did not want to owe salary, we would have probably been even better prepared by the time we had to play the games against Zimbabwe and Rwanda. Remember that 1-1 draw that Ekong made a mistake. So, Mr. Eric Segoshel, I am so glad at all this your requests. In fact, I hope it's super, super, super true. Monthly meetings with all the national team coaches. That's a normal request. Guys, there is nothing in here. This was dated 22nd of January. So maybe this is even from his former representation since he just got a new agency. And I promise you, this new agency, they're even more thorough and more professional. So they will not take the NFF bullshit. So all I'll tell you guys is strap up, because we're either going to get back to the NFF nonsense where they'll tell you that Eric Chelle and co, we could not find the middle ground and he has left his role as Nigeria national team coach. Even as I heard Angola are trying to prize him. And we know Angola, they will use the money from their oil to pay him directly. Meanwhile, NFF are owing our people. I even know Tunisia, before they got Sabila Mushi, were looking at him. So let's keep looking at ourselves. I will not be surprised if we hear some bad news, because Nigeria have no games to play until September. Literally say, okay, no, we have a friendly game to play in March or June. Forget this World Cup nonsense. They're all, guys, I promise you, this thing with Sheodiko and co, it was a distraction from their failure. That's genuinely my belief in my heart. I'm telling you, that's what I really, 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 really believe in my heart, you know. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that to you guys and know your thoughts. Timmy says, which agency is it? Oh my God, I forgot to take a screenshot on Twitter. I'll have a look and make sure I remember the name for but shout out to everybody for understanding what I was saying on this. Exactly. Adam said the requests are very reasonable. Very, very reasonable. Very, very reasonable. Abby said he has nothing to lose and he has nothing to prove. Exactly. Nothing. Exactly. Can you imagine? Aaron even said, I saw some mumu complain about how they would do what Eric Chelle does. We have the price. Like I said, crabs in the bucket mentality. So much nonsense. We're not used to it. Exactly as I also said, at AFCON, we heard he was being owed 7 months' salary. And he coached our Super Eagles coach on empty stomach. I was in the hotel in Marrakesh. That means the guy was probably even thinking as he's trying to eat like some dinner, like, man, these people owe me my salary, man. How I gonna eat? Lovely guy, man. Go on, NFF, go and pay him, man. I'm tired of you guys and being mediocre. Since that was in your DNA, what's Kendrick, man? Enough is enough. I'm telling you guys, it's so embarrassing. And why is he always Nigeria? Why can't we hear good news, surprising good news from the NFF one day? Oh my God, the NFF have established a structure between the underage teams, the under-17 squads, the local academies, and making sure that they're able to get talent directly from these academies straight to the national team. But we know that it's because of Guavo or somebody. I don't even, let me not mention any names, but we've heard for a long time that they will collect envelope to put players in the team. A whole Super Eagles. So I like that he's trying to standardize our team. Thank you. Exactly, Michael. Thanks for clarifying. He wants to use that money to pay his staff. Very reasonable request, guys. Very, very, very request. and he must get that full control of the squad. Exactly like Samuel said, we need presence for squad selections. These are simple. Shout out to you, John Andrea. Good to see you again, my brother. Da Vinci said, Olu, is there any Nigerian coach you can somewhat trust with the Super Eagles? I can't think of one. Sunday Olise is too divisive. Can we blame NFF for this mediocrity? I would so love to. Yes, we can. I can't think of a Nigerian coach in my head either. But that's also back to the NFF. Do you know that it is your national federation that should be responsible for even coaching badges? Mikel Arteta went to go and spend time with the Wales Football Union. Wales. That's where he did part of his coaching badges. Because your national association should have a link to the regional body, which is CAF, to be able to provide coaching qualifications. But of course, Nigeria, with our love for colonizer and white people things, someone will tell you that it must be UFRB. Yes, that could be the gold standard, but it doesn't have to be. There are a lot of deals that this same useless NFF could have been doing. Where is the coaching pipeline? Where is the refereeing pipeline? Where was the last time we saw a Nigerian referee in an AFCON? Let's even start there. Talk less of coach. Then you now have to bring Amonike that will be talking to multimillionaire footballers as if we're in the 80s. Have you seen the way Amonike talks? Be talking to these millionaires like they are young boys or they are nobodies. You know that on Nigeria, sir, ma, who are you? Respect my authority. It don't work. In England and places we live in, you see how you can respect authority. I'll call my CEO by his name, Tim. How's it going, Tim? Are you having a good day? Because respect is not by all these weird salutation names. It's given. If you see the way Eric Chelle trusts these players and talks to them like men, because they're men. They're men. They have to be given the respect they deserve. So Amunike can never be Nigeria's coach. In fact, forget that said. Because he doesn't have the man management skills to be the coach of the Super Eagles. He doesn't. Can you imagine him trying to talk to Alex Iwobi or somebody, telling them, who are you to talk to me? Respect Amunike for everything he did for Nigeria. Scored the winning goal in an AFCON final and also the Olympics final. He should be revered. But of course, where's the Amunike pictures from 1996? That's what we should be doing. Where is the memorabilia? For someone that scored so many important goals for Nigeria and won African Footballer of the Year, he's not even as well known in the natural consciousness of Nigerians. So NFF, they have so many things to be focusing on. Where is the national team shop? Just broke and useless. Just gaslighting everybody up and down. So anyway, I think I've spent enough time on that as usual. But we have to go back to square one and see what's going on. Lord Adama said his luggage was Ghana must go back. So I remember that the guy came prepared for AFCON. He knew he'd be there for a while. He knew what was cooking. Chelle said, I think it's his agency that's demanding it, but good. Well, either way, that's how it should be, though. If you are the coach, you have an agent. Your agent and their agency take your demands, and they go to bat for you. So it makes perfect sense. So that one, I don't even mind at all. And I agree, his request is the minimum, like Timmy said. Any top coach around the world, and he's showing he's a top coach. Simple. He's showing he's a top coach. Abby said, my conspiracy theory is that Nigerian football NFF cannot and must not work. Because if it works, then all our institutions are next, which cannot happen. Can they at least even learn from India? Even if India don't care about any sports, if the India cricket team come to play against you, you will know you are facing the best team in the world. Treat NFF like a body that you must audit with the most professionalism. I don't care what they do to the others. But I agree with you on that hot take about what will lead to other things. But I don't know if it will happen in my lifetime. But one day, this our country must work. At least one or two things must work. Thank God music worked because they didn't need to deal with the government. Because I'm sure the government, even in the 2000s, when they're trying to ban songs for being vulgar. This is why I always tell you about Nigeria's fake morality. Too much religion, but no morals. Meanwhile, look at our population. But it's in the places where people wear miniskirt or whatever, where people have natural morals, they don't steal as much. They treat people with respect. You look at your neighbor, you don't look down on them immediately. Me, once I get to Nigeria, they can see the sun has not slapped your face. Everywhere you go, hey, Odogu, come on, man. So it just permeates the entire society, man. And as Charles says, you need more top backroom staff. Exactly. The problem is, instead of them to go and engage the Shelle Lofinjanos of the world, the Michael and Menalus, who have actual experience and are competent in their jobs. But we know that those people will never engage with the NFF because they know they're absolutely useless. Austin Ogavo has been a technical director for how many years? What are his KPIs? What makes him keep his job? What is it? Whether we fail, whether we don't fail, he's always there. So what's the point? What has he done? If he comes to bring us accomplishments, what can we tell? Where is the transparency on that? They are useless NFF website. Even my website is better than their own. Let's be honest. Where is the transparency of what the technical director is doing? What has he improved? When last did we see a Nigeria underage team go and do well? Even if they are cheating with age. When was the last time? So Eric Chelle is trying to professionalize from the inside. And I think these demands will tell us a lot over the next few months this year. So stay tuned for what happens when Nigeria play a match. And let's see what happens. But Eric Chelle must stay as our coach. For the first time, we found a coach we like. And just watch Gusau and co. Gusau will now tell us that it's not his fault that Eric Chelle had to leave. Do not tell you start from scratch one. Does that look like someone that can influence our country positively? And I've heard there's NFF elections this year. Let's be watching it well because we know those crooks again. They will not change the statutes. They will tell you that you must be FA president of one state. Nothing about your capabilities or your competence. Have you ever heard the English FA tell you that they hired the English FA head of the FA based on if he's shown that he can be the head of Nottinghamshire FA? It's based on competence. What have you done in your career? What have you done in your career? Emenalo is there chopping Saudi money. They could not even find a deal to bring him on as a consultant and say, please, Emenalo, where we need to professionalize. We know you've worked for the biggest clubs in the world. Can you come on as a consultant and just help us shake things up in our environment? But nobody's thinking as usual. So Eric Chelle, good. Let's see what happens with those demands. And I'm very, very glad he pulled them out. So we'll see what happens with that situation. A few final comments with it. Charles says, Olu, we demand on it because people need to know that our national team was in the top 10 in the 90s. Exactly. We were 5th in the world. We still have the highest ever rank that an African team has ever achieved. 5th in 1994. Even Morocco that just reached 8th, did not reach this our number 5. And we know we have the capabilities. So what can we do? Of course, Shea Olovijano turned them down. Of course, he turned them down. Why he wants to do that? Look at Emenalo too now. I'm sure him to turn those donkeys down because they have no sense. Thank you. They need to change the statutes. My pick for this election, David Doherty. David Doherty, is that not Team Nigeria UK? Really? That guy? I'm not sure he has the diplomacy for understanding Nigeria and England relations. I also don't like people that try to talk down on Nigeria because they live in the UK or whatever. Me, you people know me, I'm very transparent. I don't lie. I'm a British citizen. I was born in London. But that does not mean you people see the way I carry Nigeria on my head. I hate people that are too in love with colonizer. Just like European things too much. And that guy, sometimes the way he talks, you can tell is a looking down thing. Sometimes it's valid though, but sometimes it's a talking down thing. But like Timmy said, the NFF is so bad. You're right. Can't even find where to book for qualifications. In England, at least the information for qualifications on the website. Bro, that NFF website is an eyesore. And nobody has thought about what we can do. In fact, be watching, you saw these guys that were handling our social media during AFCON. Guys, watch when the next match friendlies come. Let's see what our social media looks like. Because I'm sure as a man, they're like, thanks for your services, but the job is done. So anyway, we move on. I've spent quite a lot on that, but you know, Nigeria, we have to always call these things out. Lo, Irene said NFF means useless in tonight's session. Simple. Very, very useless and incompetent. So, like I said, positive news, but also negative news. The NFF have completely neglected the Super Falcons. It is such a disgrace. You and I know that all those awards that they won from winning WAFCON last year, we know they've not paid them a single kobo. All the demands, we know that they've not seen one of it. You and I all know that. We all know. And mind you, before they won that WAFCON in the summer last year, the NFF failed to prepare friendlies for them. Failed to give them the best environment to really shine. It took the captain having to protest about the facilities for them to even move them into a better hotel. So now again, we've watched the NFF neglect these women again. And I don't understand this organization. And I know one buffoon will come and tell us that it's because the men's AFCON was going on. Don't you have enough capable bodies that can serve both teams at the same time? They played an international window in January and December. Nigeria had no games to play. Yet again, they said they will now play one WAFU friendly tournament with Senegal, Ghana, and I think it was Ivory Coast. Of course, the that one was cancelled. And last minute now, they just quickly whipped up a friendly match to be played against Cameroon twice. So we're going to play Cameroon on February 28th and March 6th. Literally 12 days before the Women's AFCON starts. Those are the only games our team have played this year. I saw Sasu Obayawa mentioning that I spoke to Jennifer Chegini at PSG about preparation, and she's very concerned. How will she not be concerned? Then all of a sudden, this same Azame will now expect the women to go and win and will demand that they must make the semi-finals qualify for the World Cup. But you failed to prepare for them. But you don't want to prepare to fail. You ungrateful, useless. The one thing that's saving us is the fact that our women's team, our individual quality is so superior compared to the rest of Africa that on any good day, only Morocco, South Africa, and maybe Zambia. Even Zambia, we beat them 6-1 last year in AFCON. Only maybe 3 teams can even handle us on a good day because our individual quality is just so amazing. But go and look at where they put Madogo and co. Training facilities, pitch-wise, hotel-wise, all the basic things that you ask for as a footballer to prosecute your job. But here we are. So anyway, we must call out the negative first. But at least, thank you, NFF, for organizing a friendly game for them, man. We're grateful. So they will play Cameroon starting on the 28th of February, which will be next week. When is the 28th? I'm pretty sure March 1st is on Sunday. So next week, Saturday. Fantastic. So, goalkeepers, a lot of the usual suspects are here. Chiamaka Anadozie is there, so excited about that. Defenders, a lot of the main normal people. Alozie is there, Demehi is there, Ashley Plumter is there, Oladipo Shukurat is there, Christy Uchebe is there, Osinachi Ohale is there. We can see a few new names. Gloria Ogbonna has been recalled to the team. Okeke Chidima, that's a new name I haven't seen. Sikiratu Issa has also been in the squad before. Also, midfielders, a lot of the usual suspects. Ainde Halimatu, Echegini Jennifer, as I just mentioned, who scored the winning goal to win the AFCON for us, by the way. That's how little coverage a lot of these journalists even give to our women's AFCON. That our channel, we were one of the few channels that covered the women's AFCON last year. But when it was time for the final, all of a sudden, people were there to come and try and say, hey, we're proud of you, Super Falcons, 10 times. You know? So good to see. Deborah Biodu is in the squad as well, so good to see. We've seen a return to the squad for Ngozi Okobi Okeogene. I'd love if that's her husband's name. I haven't seen a hyphen name in Nigeria in a while. And we've also seen a maiden call-up for Christopher Precious. At least first time I've seen her name in a while. Forwards, love the usual suspects. Rashidat Ajibade. Thank you, God. Gift Monday has been recalled back to the squad, though. I don't know what this woman did to NFF. In fact, we all know NFF, every time any of these women talk out, they'll blacklist them like they did Opanozi. Somebody clearly blacklisted Gift Monday from the national team squad. That's why she missed the last AFCON. So now she will come here and just keep silent so that they will not come and remove her from her rightful place as a Nigerian player. That's how they control these women, and it's very disgusting. Something must change one day. I'm telling you. So thank God that Gift Monday is back in the squad. And the usual suspects, Chinwendu Hezuo, Babajide, Rinsola Babajide is there. Folashade Jami Lucy is there. And then we see a maiden call-up. I haven't seen this name before. Ijoma Okoronkwo and also Omewa Joy Ogochukwu. So they are the new call-ups. So, as usual, like I said, I'm a big champion of the Super Falcons. They are the most consistent Nigerian national team and the one that win the most. In fact, they win so much that, do you remember that DJ Kali album where he said, I'm suffering from success? That's Super Falcons. They're always suffering from success because all they do is win, and win again. So shout out to them. And let's see what happens. Chioma Okafor was not in the squad. Thanks for that comment, Taiwo. Because I was surprised not to see Chioma Okafor in the squad. It's quite interesting that they've dropped Tony Payne as well. Mind you, because we don't have press conferences, I won't be surprised if this Tony Payne thing is because she spoke out about some nonsense they did. We all know that they cannot drop Alozie, they cannot drop Plumter because they are too famous and too important. And to be fair, Tony Payne can do better. But I also wanted to see her sister get to the squad. I know her sister has gone back to the NWSL. Oh, thanks for clarifying, Aaron, that Tony Payne is injured. Okay, fair enough. So that's good to see. But Chioma Okafor, I was surprised not to see her in there, and we'll see what happens next. So a few comments on the Super Falcons. Charles said, whoever wins the 2027 will determine. Okay, these NFF presidents, honestly, it will determine the future of our country in football, honestly. Oh, wait, is that 2027 election as well? Oh, sorry. You mean national election? Forgive me, forgive me. That one, I'm not even deceiving myself. I know Nigeria. Nothing is gonna change. so I don't deceive myself with hope. Let's just, like I said, it's football and music I carry on my head, you know. So any other comments? Okay, these are all related to my previous comments. Why are we calling up players from Israel? I agree. What the hell? I like what Charles said about Morocco is really trying to close the gap for the sake of our pride and legacy. We need to save our football. This disrespect Nigeria is getting, I'm not liking it. Very well said. Bro, you cannot cheat good preparation. Morocco have been laying down the groundwork for over 16, 17 years. They are now seeing the fruition of their women's team. We are lucky we still have individual quality better than them. And in the women's game, physicality plays a bigger role in your performance. Naturally, with the way our players are, I love the way we bully some teams. And I think that's what still gives us an advantage over Morocco. Because even the way we remontada that final from 2-0 down to win 3-2 in Rabat, I have to say that was one of my proudest days watching any of our Nigeria teams. And I've been watching the Super Falcons since the days of Stella Mbachu, Perpetua Okocha, Messi Akide. Remember that time they will go and win all the women's AFCON. That time they will show every game on NTA, AIT, and we'll see all of them. Fantastic. Even that goalkeeper, Precious, that used to wear one scarf like this. We've been dominating for a long, long time. I remember the last World Cup. These same Super Falcons, they literally lost out in the round of 16 due to penalty shootouts against England that made it to the final. That's how good their potential is. And the next World Cup is in Brazil. Nah, NFF, if anything goes wrong with this, their qualification, we're going to come back from you. That's all I'll say on that. So we keep going. Jackson says NFF are confused badly, very confused body, honestly. And Da Vinci said the Super Falcons are like Ronaldinho, who would club all night and still destroy teams, living on natural talent. If they strike at AFCON, I will support fully, as this is the World Cup qualifier year. Exactly, well said, Da Vinci. And it's no fault of theirs. But I promise you, they will go to WAFCON and show out again. But we have to admit that they're being let down. They're being let down. They're being let down. Morocco's team, they'll go to that Mohamed IV complex, both men and women. Our women, they'll send them to Abeokuta or Ikene. God is watching everybody, Sha, but we keep moving. You see what Taiwo said. Morocco are hosting about 8 friendly games in the March window. This makes me wonder what exactly other African countries are doing, especially Nigeria. Why don't we want to invest in sports economy? Thank you so much for that comment. I've told you guys on here before. During AFCON, I met a guy in CAF that's Moroccan. He told me football is part of Morocco's national strategy. National strategy, and you can see why. Do Morocco have 2 heads? Their economy is not bigger than Nigeria's economy, even with the devaluing of our naira. But of course, their GDP per capita is far better than our own. So if Morocco can do it, yes, they have the benefit of having a monarchy where everybody believes in the king. I can't believe I just said the monarchy is a benefit. But the point is, anything King Mohammed tells them is sacred in Morocco. And once he told them that they should take care of football and everybody must buy in, the whole country did it. And we need this same thing in Nigeria. But we know with democracy and all these things, I never see democracy. We know the democracy like Nigeria before, to be honest. We're all wasting our time. You see the budgets they approve for INEC. I was just laughing. But anyway, we hope one day that things will get better. But Super Falcons, we dare your back. We will, of course, bring you the results of that friendly game, and I'll do my best to try and watch it. But this is the things we're talking about. When Nigeria Super Falcons are playing games, do you know how hard it is to find any links to watch their games? Because the NFF don't know how to make any broadcasting deals. Even if they wanted to make broadcasting deals, where are the broadcasting facilities in any of those dilapidated stadiums? Gusau said they're talking to IMG Productions. IMG Productions told them you don't have any stadium with good broadcasting in the whole 36 states plus FCT. So let's keep watching. Anyway, we keep moving. We keep moving. Let me not spend too long on that. Final comments. TV said, "Oh, please run for NFF president." I don't know if I'm diplomatic enough to be calling everybody sir. I'll be accepting their nonsense. Obviously, we'll blend in, but I appreciate the kind words. John said, "Who as NFF president?" Maybe one day we can consult for them, but this organization that cannot pay the coach. Is it now normal salary? Normal members, they will pay salary. John said he's firing everyone on the spot. That is correct. I will fire each and every single one of them. Everybody will come and defend their job. You know, like in school where you're doing debates, and you can't say, I hope I'll be able to convince and not confuse you. Every single employee will come and defend why they should keep their job. Tell me exactly what you've done based on the requirements of the role. And they will assess you over the tenure of how long you've been there. And they will take it from there. So most of them will go, honestly. You know what? I love this comment by Taiwo. I didn't want to say it too. Honestly, sports in Nigeria thrived during the military regime. This democratic regime isn't favorable. Now, we have to admit that obviously the reason why it thrived in the military regime is because sports was used as a weapon of propaganda. We know. But go and watch Super Eagles 96 documentary on Prime Video. Do you know that Westerhoff had to speak directly to Abacha to stop the NFF from stealing the money that was meant from the team? So Abacha used to send money directly to Westerhoff just to make sure that the Azamen don't steal the money. And this was in 1993 when I was born. I'm 33 in 3 weeks. And we're still having the same problems. So you almost wish that, I even wish this democracy government, don't they like propaganda from football? At least try and use it for this your so-called mandates, rather than telling us stories that touch. But here we are anyway. And just as I said, of course, Celtic are now 3-1 down in the corner. This Scottish League versus German League, man. Absolutely beating the shit out of them. Good to see. Anyway, guys, I've spent way too long on this. We haven't even gone into the main crux of the podcast, man. Olu, Rambo. But anyway, this is why we bring you the short clips for you guys to peruse separately if you're not a fan of this long content. But shout out to all 65 people on the live stream. Love the engagement. Love all the comments. Let me even see where people voted in this my poll. Osimhen 49%, Onyedika 30%, Lookman 21%. I'm surprised Lookman's percentage was that high, you know. But that's interesting to see. I think, John, you're absolutely correct. Things would thrive better if everything was private. If the Super Eagles was a private organization, guys, I kid you not, we'll be contenders to win this World Cup. I have no doubts. No doubts. We will literally be prepared to see if we can win this World Cup. I'm telling you. That's just the honest truth. So we keep moving, man. We keep moving. We keep moving, man. So anyway, shout out to that very enjoyable comment. You guys know me. I always get heated when it comes to anything Nigeria, Super Eagles, Super Falcons, Eric Chelle. So forgive me for running over massively on that one. All right, Premier League. Actually, I forgot one part. Sorry. No, I didn't. Premier League time. Guys, should I try and act like yesterday did not happen? Or would that be very, very, very silly of me? So, before we get into the Premier League preview, of course, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. Bloody Arsenal, man. Thierry Henry. This would not have happened during your time, bro. This will never have happened, man. Arsenal decided to give all our trolls, haters, bad wishers, every up of Arsenal, more ammunition to continue to banter us. I saw someone say, oh my God, the Coca-Cola company have a new rival. Bottling like Coke. I've seen so many bottling jokes. And I can't lie to you, Arsenal deserve each and every one of them. How can you draw against Wolverhampton, who literally are fighting to make sure they're not the worst team in Premier League history? They literally need one more point to get to 11 points to make sure they're not as bad as Derby County. That's who they're fighting against. And Arsenal took a 2-0 lead after 60 minutes and still drew the match. That means Arsenal have now dropped points in 5 of our last 7 Premier League games. Everybody was wishing us well. In fact, what's even making this less heated for me is the fact that I've been watching AFCON January, December. So I didn't have to worry about Arsenal's nonsense until a certain point. But now we're here. And I have to say, man, Arsenal attacking-wise stink. Like, you cannot be one of the best teams in the land and everyone's gassing you that you should win the title. You need to do this, you need to do that. And then you keep going up to play against Wolves and Brentford and stinking up the place attacking wise. Let these players play football, for Christ's sake. Nítorí Ọlọ́run. Hey, you cannot win. All that thing about defense wins league titles is bush. There is no team with a great defense that has not won the league title with an attack that was purring as well. Ever. And when you watch Arsenal's drop from grace in terms of attacking football over this season and last season, you have to say it's very concerning. How can you be playing Wolves? I knew once we scored 2 goals, we will not score another goal. Against Wolverhampton, against Brentford, once we scored 1 from a corner, I knew we were not scoring again. Arteta is so obsessed with control, he has over-controlled this team that they have no spark and imagination in attack. I saw a joke yesterday that I had to laugh. The Americans on here will love this. I saw a tweet that said, Arteta might be the first footballing coach that needs to hire an offensive coordinator. And honestly, it made me laugh because in the NFL, I support the Philadelphia Eagles because of, obviously, green Eagles. And guess what? The Philadelphia Eagles blew this season because they had a useless offensive coordinator again. Vic Fangio will be doing all his best work as the defensive coordinator. You now see one stupid offensive coordinator doing nonsense. That is Arsenal right now. We need someone to learn how to coach us to attack because it's not good enough. Have you seen the attacking numbers of our attackers? Martinelli has 1 goal in the Premier League. Bukayo Saka has 5 goals. 5 goals in the Premier League. And we're almost in March. He better play like a franchise player with that contract, I'm telling you. How many goals does that blockhead Gyökeres have? 8. And that's who they were turning their nose up at Osimhen to sign that blue-eyed blonde guy from Sporting Lisbon. When Osimhen was there, how many goals does Jesus have? Havertz is the player Arteta loves so much. We all know Havertz will never score 30 goals in a season. Then you spend 52 million of the Queen's finest pounds on Nonso Madueke. So change his name from Nonso to Noni. Does that sound like someone that is sure about how confident he is in himself? He changed his name to Noni. For what? Spend 52 million on him to have 2 Premier League goals. Does he even have up to 2? And even Trossard, they were saying, has done the best work this season. You have to admit, it's a problem when Trossard is your most efficient attacker. Do you know that every time Arsenal have gone up in a match this season, guess the players that have scored the most to make it 1-0 for Arsenal this season in the Premier League? Declan Rice, Martin Zubimendi, and Gabriel Magalhaes. 3 times each. Centre back and 2 central midfielders. And we're all watching this team. You say, oh, we're not expansive enough. This one, Kiniko. But you got to beat what's in front of you. How can you be 2-0 up against Wolves? It reminds me of the Sunderland 2-2 draw in December. Raya is always so calm. Once you see David Raya panicking, that's when you know there's a mental problem. David Raya is the picture of calm. Look at him trying to go and fight for the ball with Gabriel. So something is definitely wrong mentally, whether Arteta admits it or not. And honestly, the only positive which I'll get to when I preview the game is the fact that there's no better tonic to keep the fans back on your side than beating Tottenham away for the 4th straight season at their concept of a stadium. But Arsenal, my God, it was terrible, 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 terrible. And honestly, it's not title winning form. Arsenal, if we win all our remaining 11 games, we can get to 91 points. But does this look like a team that's going to get all the way to 91 points? When you've just considered God knows how many goals in the past few games. 2 teams you should not be conceding goals again. This Wolves game, I was so sure we'll win the match. But as the match kept going, I was thinking to myself, something feels funny, man. We're not crazy. There's a way you pepper these useless teams. Do you remember 2 seasons ago when Arsenal got 89 points? We'll go to West Ham, slap them 6-0. We went to at least 3 or 4 away grounds and beat them by 4, but scored 4 or 5 goals. We scored so many goals that season, we broke the goal record from the Invincibles. And I don't know what kind of fear entered Arteta that he has moved away from that so much. Or is it that it's only Odegaard, Saka, and Ben White that can prosecute a good attack for him? I don't get it, man. The only thing that's giving me any confidence is the fact that let's still be objective. Arsenal are 5 points ahead with a game in hand. So technically, it's still our title to lose. We're still in the Champions League. We're in the League Cup final, and we're pretty much already in the FA Cup quarterfinal because we have to play Mansfield in the FA Cup 5th round. So there's a world where you can reset and not panic and go again. But the honest truth is, when you look at Pep Guardiola's record over the past 12 games, the final 12 games of the Premier League season for the past 4 years, there is no season Guardiola has not won at least 9 games. And there's been seasons where he has won 10 or 11. So that's what we're up against. And you have to say right now, Arsenal are not showing signs of being that team that will deliver. And it's very, very concerning. In fact, let me be honest. If you remove your mind, Arsenal only have 2 attackers. Out of all the attackers in our attacking midfield, wingers and strikers, we only have 2 of them that are guaranteed to still be there or should even be playing. In fact, only one, only Bukayo Saka. Odegaard regressed so much last season, and he's still yet to show his best form. That even him, I'm not sure he should have the armband. Ebere Chieze, oh my God, you are not playing like a king at all. Like, can you try to act like you belong at Arsenal? Stop all this. Let it all work out, yes, but you have to play a part in making it work out, bro. What do you mean since you scored 3 goals against Tottenham, you've not done nothing? Yes, you gave us 2 assists against Wigan, but bro, it's Wigan Athletic for a reason, bro. Decisive games, what are we seeing from this squad? Do you see how bad Trossard was in the second half? Forgive me, I don't want to make this an Arsenal podcast. Forgive me, I'll be done in 1 minute. Trossard in second half, useless. Martinelli's finishing in the Prem, useless. 1 goal in the Prem. Yes, he has 11 goals all competitions, and I think he has 6 or 7 in the Champions League. But how can you have 1 Premier League goal? 1. Don't get me started on our attackers. And we were turning our nose at Osimhen. You guys know me, if you've been on this channel for a long time, I was begging these people to sign Victor Osimhen. Forget all this attitude talk. Bring me a killer. Can you imagine Osimhen in that game? He will create at least 5 chances himself from pressing alone. Meanwhile, I'm watching Aroko Dare hustle with Saliba, and he's actually improved his hold-up play, like who said it? Tyro said on here. He's improved this slightly, but man, that guy, honestly, is still a bit of a mid-striker, we have to admit. But anyway, it is what it is. Arsenal, we go again on Sunday, and hopefully they can bring some good news because it's definitely needed, and something is definitely wrong. So Sunday, 4:30 p.m., let's see what Arsenal could do when we play that game against Tottenham Hotspur. Comments are saying Da Vinci said, bro, this season there's no title race at all. It's like Arsenal struck a deal with Sky TV to make the EPL interesting for TV ratings. I swear the Arsenal Spurs game will surpass the Super Bowl views. Also, there's a part of me that, look, Man City are playing Newcastle on Saturday. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that that game's done. Especially with the way Newcastle have been playing away from home recently. They beat Aston Villa away. Even though Aston Villa beat them away at home a few weeks ago, they gave it to them in the FA Cup, Tonali. Look how they did Carabag yesterday. 6 goals. So whatever happens, I'm hoping, how can I be relying on Newcastle to do me a favor? I can't stand Newcastle. I literally hate the club. But this is where Arsenal have brought us to. And let's just put it this way, that Arsenal will know a lot more after we play Tottenham away and host Chelsea at the Emirates. So we'll see what happens with those 2 games. But we need an offensive coordinator ASAP. And those bottling tags for now, we have to accept it as it is and keep it moving. I like what Aaron said. Aubameyang said Arteta can handle big personalities. It's giving like that too, clearly. Because there's clearly something wrong where if you look at our attackers, if I show up to a game with Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli, and maybe Havertz, yes, you may be scared. But can you imagine if you turn that Havertz to Osimhen and you turn that left winger to Semenyo? I don't know why we didn't go for Semenyo. Or go and sign me one of them PSG boys. Go and bring Bakola, man. Go and bring Bakola for me. We need the kind of attack that everybody's scaring you. Left winger, striker. We need more. And Da Vinci said the Portuguese league should never be taken seriously again. The chap who replaced Gyökeres, yeah, he came from the Spanish second division, right? That Luis Suarez guy. Yeah, he now has 17 goals in 18 games. And this is not the first time. We saw it with Darwin Núñez too. We've seen this example countless times. Even Falcao struggled in the Prem, but he did well for Atletico Madrid. So Portuguese tax, man, never again am I falling for this nonsense. Also, by the way, Kelechi and Achodos came on with 20 minutes to go for Celtic to play the final 20 minutes as they're losing 3-1 already. So let's see if we can do any work for them in Celtic Park. Okay, so Premier League preview. Let me try not to ramble too much since we've been going for 90 minutes already. I appreciate all the support. Please like the video. Please, please. I am begging you in the name of Jesus, please. There are 48 people watching this live, and we have 29 likes. Other 19 people, would you want me to go on my knees, please? Please, please. I'm begging you. Please like the video. That's all I ask. I did not demand super chat. I didn't ask for anything. Please just like the video and subscribe if this is your first time here. God bless you. Much love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so Premier League is back this weekend. And we already know about the Premier League table, so no need to rehash that. First games involving Nigerian players. Nottingham Forest, they've just taken a 3-0 lead at Fenerbahce and they've flown back straight to London. They will be in action against Liverpool at the City Ground in what's going to be a very, very pivotal game for them. Obviously, Vitor Pereira has already started well as Nottingham Forest manager. And like I said, Ola Aina played exceptionally well already today. We know Taiwo Awoniyi is not in the European squad for Nottingham Forest, so there was no way he was going to be able to play in the match today. But this game, we cannot stress how important it is for both sides. Forest need to start clicking. They're only 3 points ahead of West Ham. West Ham have literally won, 3 of their last 5 games, if not 4 of their last 5. In fact, West Ham have been looking very, 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 very good. So Nottingham Forest need to watch their back, because the more they keep playing in Europe, there's a world where you could see that causing them problems in terms of juggling Europe and the Premier League. So they have to find ways to get points on the board. And Liverpool, on the other hand, they need to keep winning to find themselves back in the top 4. And Slot has actually never beaten Nottingham Forest. Remember last season, Nottingham Forest were the only team to beat Liverpool at Anfield as they romped to the league. He's actually lost 2 of his 3 games against them, including that 3-0 loss to them at Anfield last year, where Callum Hudson-Odoi was feeling himself. So Liverpool need to win this game as well, because when you look at the Premier League table, it looks like we already know that 5 teams will make the Champions League from England. But Liverpool are already 2 points behind Chelsea and 3 points behind United. And they cannot afford to drop any more points, because Brentford could even overtake them. Or even worse, they're only 5 points ahead of Everton. Can you imagine if Everton finish above Liverpool? That would be crazy. So anyway, let's see how this game goes. But I know that in terms of Nigerian players, all I know will start. Taiwo Awoniyi may be put back on the bench, but we know it's a new coach, so we need to see if Vitor Pereira likes him. Sondage clearly had a soft spot for Taiwo Awoniyi, so we need to see what happens with Vitor Pereira and Awoniyi. But my prediction for this game, I think Nottingham Forest, riding the wave of this Fenerbahce result, will be feeling pretty confident coming to, hosting Liverpool in the City Ground. And I'm going to push for a 1-1 draw. I think this game will end 1-1. And by God's grace, Ola Aina will have yet again another good game. Now, the battle of our players struggling in the Prem. Crystal Palace host Wolverhampton Wanderers at Selhurst Park this weekend. Crystal Palace currently 13th, but we all know about the situation with Sant Uche and his lack of game time. And you can just tell he's not Oliver Glasner's cup of tea at all. While Tolera Godare, this is a striker that, as much as we're happy for him that he's in the Premier League and he's probably eating Premier League like he has never done before, this is a player that we're literally he has 5 goals in 20 games for Wolverhampton. Literally 2 goals in 18 games in the Premier League. By any stretch of the imagination, this is a striker that is showing that he's not a Premier League level striker. And I think that's the fair assessment to give for Tolera Godare right now. But all he can do is keep playing his best, and he'll see where things shake out for him in the summer. He will likely have to go to the Championship and play there, which, no disrespect, may probably be his level, because he's never been able to do it in the top 5 league. Like I said, playing in Belgium last year was the first time he had a prolific season in his career. And this is a player that has already been around the block a little bit in his career. He's not exactly a spring chicken. He's already 25. So he's going to be 26 in October this year. He's played for Valmiera in Latvia. He's played for FC Cologne on loan. He didn't score any goals for FC Cologne in 10 games. He then went to Amiens, where he scored 13 goals in 40 games in one season and 8 goals in 23. Literally, these last 2 seasons at Genk have been the only 2 really good seasons of his career, if we're being honest, where he scored 15 goals and 23 goals respectively. So he's a player where if we remove the outlier of his career for the past 2 years, he's not a prolific attacker at all. And I think it was wishful thinking, especially expecting him to do great things in the Premier League. But of course, we'll back him and we'll see how it goes. Aaron said Tolu reminds me of Paul. At least we saw Paul dominate the Belgian league. We've seen Paulo. There's evidence of Paulo scoring. In fact, there was one season where I think he almost scored 40 goals. Tolu Dare's most prolific season was last season, and he scored 23 goals in 45 games. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So it's an interesting one. Like, compared to Onuachu, I've seen Onuachu go on some ridiculous prolific seasons in his career, man. Yeah, he scored 35 goals in 41 games in the Belgian Pro League in 2021, then scored 23 the next season, then even managed to score 17 goals in 22 games before he moved to Southampton on a loan he should have never, ever taken. And even when he came back to Trabzonspor on loan for half season, he scored 17 goals in 25. And now he has 17 goals in 21. In fact, Onuachu has 202 goals in his career in 410 games. That is a prolific striker by all accounts. While Araujo Dare has 7 for his career. And 22 of those were in Latvia. And almost half of those goals came in the Belgian league. So with all due respect to Araujo Dare, let's just say he should enjoy the moments that he has while he's in the Premier League, because I do not think he will ever play in the Premier League again after this season, unless he goes on some crazy run and scores 5 goals in his last 11 games, but I can't see it happening. But anyway, him and his teammates must be feeling good after their performance against Arsenal yesterday, but they're still 17 points off safety, and there's no world where they're going to win 6 of the last 11 games, so they're just slow walking into going back to the championship. In fact, if you're a sporting director, start preparing for the championship. I think that's why they signed Adam Armstrong, that championship merchant, But at least Araujo Dare is playing games. Palace, on the other hand, we know that they won their first game in a while, but then they lost to Burnley at home. I don't even know what to think about Palace right now, man. Like, it's like Glasner has just checked out mentally and he can't wait to leave. Because some of the performances we're seeing from these guys, honestly, really, really shocking stuff. But anyway, I think Araujo Dare will start this game with Armstrong. Uche, let's hope he's even on the bench at the very least. So that'll be nice to see. But my prediction in this game, Palace, surely you have to get back to winning ways. Your fans have seen you lose to Burnley at home. You cannot lose or draw to Wolves. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. And Ismaila Sarr, the same way you scored today, I need some help in my FPL team, man. Get me a brace or something this weekend. So that's it for Crystal Palace versus Wolves. And yes, Aaron, like you said, wow, that's good. Honestly, Onuachu's record is phenomenal. He's just never been able to do it in the Premier League. But once you put him in those leagues, Belgium, then Turkey, Onuachu will kill guys. And honestly, his record is fantastic. In fact, his goals to games ratio in the Turkish Super League is even better than Osimhen, which is crazy. But yeah. And then finally, in terms of Nigerian players in the Premier League, we of course have the players that give us the most joy, our Fulham boys. Alex Iwobi, Calvin Bassey, and Chukwueze. They will be playing against Sunderland on Sunday in a 3 p.m. kickoff game. Sunderland lost their first game at the Stadium of Light in their last game. So they will want to get back to winning ways because not something that happens very often at the Stadium of Light. Fulham have slowed down a little bit. They've dropped from 7th to 12th over the last couple of weeks. They lost 3-0 to Man City in their last Premier League game. And we all know what Haaland did to Bassey in that game. So I'm sure they'll be looking to get back to winning ways. I mean, I expect all 3 Nigerian boys to start in this match. Bassey, even though the last game was his first start in a while in the Premier League, it was not his best game, it must be said. But I'm sure he would be looking to do much, much better in this game at Sunderland and Stadium of Light. He will be ready. No, he's going to ball. And Chukwueze actually has reached the point where we expect him to ball in every match he actually plays for Fulham. But I must say I cannot see Sunderland losing at home. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think Fulham cannot afford to get another embarrassing loss. This will be a very, very tough game. I think it will be a 1-1 or 2-2 draw. That's my prediction. So that's it in terms of the Nigerian players. And then I'm sure for the Premier League fans on this channel as well, we have to go through the PL games not involving Nigerian players. So on Saturday, there's no early kickoff game. So the first Premier League game will be at 4 p.m. Nigeria time. I think it is because we're going to have a 9 p.m. kickoff game between Man City and Newcastle Nigerian time at the Etihad Stadium. So the first 4 p.m. games, we'll see Aston Villa host Leeds United at Villa Park. I mean, these are two teams that have been playing relatively well. Aston Villa, we know, still have a chance in terms of the title race. While Leeds United, we all know about how Leeds have done really, really well to prop themselves up in terms of the Premier League table over the past few weeks. They now sit, well, just 6 points ahead of the relegation zone. But we know that they've found some form, especially with their attackers, particularly Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So I think this will be a very, very interesting game. We know Villa are 8 points behind Arsenal with the game in hand. So if they win this game, they'll literally be 5 points behind Arsenal. And you have to admit that they'll be back in the title race. So Aston Villa, I'm sure, would love to get back to winning ways to make sure that they are part of the title race. And I cannot see Aston Villa dropping points, I have to be honest. Aston Villa also have to be worried about Man United, who they're 5 points above. So let's see what happens. Leeds have only lost one of their last 5 games. Yes, they won 2 and they drew 2. But I know it'll be a very difficult game on their day. But I'm going to pump for Aston Villa 2-1 victory on this day. Then we'll see Brentford go back to the G-Tech to play Brighton. Saturday, 4 p.m. as well. Brighton have been quite inconsistent, just the Brighton way, to be honest. While Brentford are flying high, after when you consider where everybody expected them to end this season. In fact, I remember pundits predicting Brentford to get relegated. But look at them now. Unbelievable, innit? In fact, look at what they did to Arsenal in the last game, So, and I have to go Thiago in my FPL, so I need that guy to run up the numbers, I have to admit. They're only 2 points behind Liverpool, and they have a very, very big chance of making Europe. Guys, if you go and watch Dango Waitara and how good he's playing since he came back from AFCON, honestly, it's sensational football. You have to be there. To be honest, this game, Brighton can pull it on their day, but I'm going to plump for a 2-0 win for Brentford. And then for the Chelsea fans in the chat, we'll see Chelsea host Burnley at Stamford Bridge. This game has been giving me nightmares because I don't know if I should I've been trying to avoid wasting a transfer on bringing in João Pedro or Cole Palmer into my squad. But I have a feeling that Chelsea are going to do nasty things to Burnley, man. Like they're going to beat the brakes out of them, man. And I'm thinking, Olu, if you don't have Pedro Palmer, your rank going to drop because you have Enzo. So these are some of the thoughts in my brain, to be honest, guys. But I think Chelsea will be absolutely fantastic in this game. They've won all their league games under Liam Rossoneri until the last one against Leeds when they drew 2-2. And they even had Cole Palmer miss a chance to win it 3-2 at the end of the game. Burnley won for the first time in ages, beating Crystal Palace 3-2 at Sellers Park. So maybe I'm underrating Burnley slightly and they'll be taking some of that confidence to Stamford Bridge. But honestly, this is going to go one way. I'm rooting for a 3-0 Chelsea victory, and that'll be that done. West Ham also play Bournemouth in the 6:30 p.m. kickoff game. This should be a tasty game because West Ham have gotten 10 points from their last 5 games, 10 from 15, and they're only 3 points behind Forest, who play Liverpool. So if Liverpool could do them a favor and West Ham could somehow beat Bournemouth at home, there's a world where West Ham could be out of the relegation zone by Sunday, which is an incredible achievement when we all thought they were pretty much dead and gone. In fact, as a Londoner, I have to be honest, I need West Ham in the Prem. I don't want to see the Cockney boys go down. I don't. We need West Ham, real Cockney, East London. I think they're always a credit to the Prem, and I don't want to see West Ham go down, I must say. So I hope they get the job done. But they're playing Bournemouth, who are starting to play well again. Bournemouth are back in the top 10. They got 11 points from their last 5 games. So that shows you the kind of pedigree they're in. They've not lost any of their last 5 games. And you guys already know my feeling with Waitara. No, not Waitara. Wait, Waitara plays for Bournemouth, not Brentford. No, Bournemouth. Bournemouth is Krupi Jr. Yes, man, that guy is insane. Krupi Jr. and Evan Nilsson and co. So that's going to be a tough game, it must be said. But I'm rooting for the Hammers, and I think they'll get the job done by 2-1. Then, of course, we'll have the big blockbuster game on Saturday, which will see Newcastle take their talents to the Etihad to face Man City in a crucial game in the title race and also the top 4 race. Even though Newcastle are currently still in the Champions League, they have to be honest with themselves. They're currently 8 points away from Chelsea in 5th place, which means they have a lot of work to do in their final 12 games if they are to return back to the Champions League. Because make no mistake about it, there's no world where Newcastle are going to win the Champions League. It's not possible, you know? So let's see how this one goes. But Newcastle know that they have to keep getting points on the board. And City's job is simple. It's time to hunt down Arsenal. They know that they have to win this match to keep the pressure on Arsenal in that title challenge. Newcastle could be a problem on any day, and they've won 3 or 4 of their last away games as well, as I said earlier. So let's see what happens in this game. But I have to say, I cannot see Man City not winning. I heard a rumor Erling Haaland may be injured. So if Haaland doesn't play, then that's when I'll really, get excited for what can happen to City. But I think City will just about edge this one 2-1. But my heart is, of course, hoping for a 1-1 so that everybody can calm down. Take the notch off. Can you imagine if Newcastle get a draw and then all of a sudden say 4-point lead rather than so-called 2? And then we go and beat Tottenham and make it 7 points, even though we have a game in hand. I would love that. I need that to happen. And then speaking of Arsenal, of course, we got the big one on Sunday. 5:30 p.m. Nigeria time, 4:30 p.m. in the UK. The big one at the Stadium of Concerts and NFL football. Tottenham hosts Arsenal yet again. They have lost back to back. Every game they've played against us in their house over the past 3 years, we have absolutely demolished them. In fact, we fried Tottenham for breakfast, man. It has to be said. But we know Arsenal dropped points again for our second straight away game. And now we have a third away game in a row to play. Yes, this game is in London and is in familiar settings that we're used to. So you have to say that enough London derby, form goes out the window, and we desperately need to get back to winning ways before the whole fan base convulses and loses their minds. Tottenham, on the other hand, have their new manager, Igor Tudor, interim manager to the end of the season. And we know he's a bit of a Sam Allardyce of Croatia, specialists that can go into places and fix things. I said Croatia because he played for Croatia, but we know he did a lot of his work both in France with Marseille and also in Italy, So this is a very respected player. I remember when I was growing up, Tudor used to play for Juventus. So very, very respected footballer, But it will be interesting to see how he sets up the team. This is his first game as the Tottenham coach. They would have played no matches in at least 12 days because they've had such a rest because they've been out of the FA Cup already, So very, very interesting game to watch. But you have to say that Arsenal have to win this match. I don't care how or where. Tottenham, on the other hand, are actually 16th in the league. So they have to be very, very careful they don't get sucked into the relegation zone. They are literally just 5 points away from safety. If West Ham literally win on Saturday, there will be 2 points ahead of... They'll only be 2 points behind Tottenham. So there's a very, very serious chance that Tottenham to get relegated. Yes, their goal difference is -1, which is better than Forest and West Ham. But for you to be only 5 points ahead of the relegation zone is very alarming. And I think this could play into Arsenal's favor because Tottenham cannot afford to sit back. They have to attack and make sure that their fans don't become restless, because you already know that Osimhen and co may come and destroy them when they come. So I'm just going to put it out there. And this one, I don't care if anyone says I'm biased. Arsenal are going to win this game 2-0. We need to keep a clean sheet again, and it's time for clean sheets again. Enough is enough. So my prediction is a 2-0 win for Arsenal. Bukayo Saka, Starboy time. We're paying you Starboy contracts. It's time. All this smiling and nice boy, young boy. No. It's time to be a man and to start fucking shit up. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. You got to beat the shit out of these people. So start it tomorrow. On Sunday. And then we'll see how the game goes. And then on Monday Night Football, although I'm sure we'll be doing the live stream during this game, or maybe we'll do it after, Manchester United are going to the Hill Dickinson to play Everton. So David Moyes playing against his ex-employers. And this one is finally poised because Everton are actually doing pretty well this season. At the moment, Everton are 8th in the Premier League. And they are literally just 7 points off Chelsea. So, and then when you extrapolate that to Man United, they're only 8 points behind Man United. So there's a real potential European push for Brentford, Everton, and Bournemouth brewing, especially if they could continue to win games and get as close to these big teams as possible. That is something that we're going to see. So let's see how this one shakes out. But of course, Man United have won almost all their games under Michael Carrick, I think except their last one, 13 points from 15 under him. But they're really in the best form in the league and they're feeling very good. You never underestimate the importance of good vibes and people feeling good about themselves and their team. And you have to admit that right now, that is something that we're seeing in Manchester United at the moment. But Everton need the results, because they're fine for Europe, but they also know that the people behind them are not that far away. So I'm just going to go for a 1-1. I would love to see Man United drop some points in this game, but I'll not be surprised if they somehow win the game by 2-1. So that's it in terms of the Premier League preview. And honestly, to be honest, you guys, I just hope Arsenal win and the Nigerian boys play well. That's all I hope for from this game. By the way, I don't know if anyone noticed me putting the scarf from AFCON back there. I thought it would be a nice touch with your culture picture. Anyway, moving on to the games outside the Premier League involving Nigerian players, the top picks for the weekend. This time, I've got 5 games for your pleasure. Of course, we have to start with our star players again. So, Victor Osimhen's Galatasaray will be in action on Saturday, 6 p.m. Nigeria time as they go away to play Konyaspor. Of course, we know that they play Juventus next week, Wednesday, in that second leg in Turin. But they still have to make sure that they take care of domestic work and handle their business at home because Fenerbahce are not far away in the league table, But they'll be feeling very, very confident after the way they pasted Juventus by 5-2. And even though they're going away to play Konyaspor, this is a team that's 14th out of 18 teams in the Turkish league. There's a world where I could even see Galatasaray rest Osimhen, so he's fully fit for the Juventus game. So there's a world where Osimhen may not even start this match. But there's also a world where he will start and he will score because that's exactly what we need from him. Because let's not be the Anuachu beat you top goal scorer Chatu. Although we need you a more bigger fish to fry, and I need you to give Juventus 2 goals in Turin. Let the whole of Italy remember who you are, because I'm pretty sure this is Osimhen's first time going to play a match in Italy since he left Naples in the summer of 2024. So really excited for this game. And whatever happens, Galatasaray are going to batter them by 3-0. By the way, Celtic have just conceded a 4th goal at Celtic Park, by the way. So Yana Chan and team is definitely over. What a fantastic finish, man. Kasper Schmeichel, you're just going to have to hold that one, my brother. But anyway, they're done. Stuttgart are 4-1 up, and that game is done. So anyway, Galatasaray will win by at least 2 or 3 goals for sure. And we're hoping Osimhen can get at least 1 goal. Moving on to Serie A. My boy, FDB, my shooter, is in action. After starting the last 2 games for Lazio, we're hoping that he'll be back in action starting for Lazio. But they need to start moving up the table quickly. They're currently 9th. And some of their results recently have been really, really atrocious and annoying. The good news for them is they're playing Cagliari, but at the moment, Lazio are 9 points behind Como in 6th, with only 13 games to go. And that's the bare minimum they need to make it into Europe. So let's see what happens, but there's no need to sugarcoat it. On Saturday, 8:45 p.m. Nigeria time, Lazio and Visaya Delibashiru need to win their match away. It's that simple. My expectation of Visaya Delibashiru is for him to start the match by God's grace. And we desperately need to see Fisayo score his first goal in Serie A this season. It's really, really bugging me that Fisayo is yet to score in Serie A this season. I don't like it. I know he doesn't like it. I know Fisayo watches this channel, so I'm very aware that he may watch this. Fisayo, we're looking forward to you scoring your first Serie A goal of season this weekend. In fact, by God's grace, it must happen. That's what I'm hoping for. And then we'll see FDB's last year win the game by 2-1. Now, Atletico Madrid, I've already given a bit of a sneak peek about their opponents for this weekend. But on Saturday, 9 p.m., they'll be back in the Metropolitano as they host Espanyol, who've actually been doing well in the season, Espanyol are 6th in the league after selling Juan Garcia. Yes, they're 10 points behind by Atletico Madrid, but you have to say that is very, very impressive stuff by Espanyol. Atletico Madrid, on the other hand, we already know about their exploits and their annoyance. They've thrashed Barcelona, they thrashed Betis, they managed to draw against Club Brugge yesterday, but in the league, they've lost 2 straight games. They lost to Betis at the Metropolitano, and they lost by a whopping 3-0 against Rayo Vallecano last weekend. So I don't want to hear no mistakes. Atletico Madrid, it's time to right your wrongs. You are now 4th, and you've even let Villarreal go past you. So very, 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 very important that they win. it is very, 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 very important. They're 3 points behind Villarreal, but 15 points behind Real Madrid, who top the league. So they have to be careful. They need to win today. All I know is Lookman has to start this man, and he has to deliver. And when I say deliver, I mean deliver, guys. He needs to score his first La Liga goal, and by God's grace, Atletico Madrid will win this game. It will not be a battering, but hopefully 2-0, 3-1, and then we go home and focus on the next game, which will be taking place on Tuesday. So very, very quick turnaround. Very quickly, I see Da Vinci said, look, we all love how Osimhen has shown himself to be a complete player, but it's hard to pretend that we don't feel somehow when Gala scores 4 or 5 and Victor is not on the score sheet. I know what you mean, brother, but to be honest, when I watched the match, the fact he got 2 assists and he was pretty much responsible for 3 of the goals is what made me not worry too much. Like, Osimhen is the most decisive player on the pitch, regardless of if they gave Gabriel Sara the Man of the Match award. But I do agree, Da Vinci, that it is very strange to see Galatasaray score 4 or 5 goals and Osimhen did not score 1. I haven't heard Ali McCoy saying it on commentary for TNT Sports. He was like, ooh, who would have thought Galatasaray would be 4 goals up and he wouldn't have scored? But honestly, he used it to advantage, exactly like Charles said. Every time he was still involved, the pressing, the moves, and 1 or 2 cutbacks from his teammates, and he probably would have scored. And the good news is you could see how upset he was at full time. So I know that he's got something for Luciano Spalletti. Osimhen has an opportunity to go back to Italy and score. We will be there. We will be there on Wednesday night to watch Osimhen put the ball in the back of the net. Let's just leave it at that. And then final 2 previews, back to the Turkish league and the top goal scorer, Paulo Noachu, who also plays with Chibike Nwaiwu, the centre-back that's 22 and who I'm hoping to see in the Super Eagles squad in March. And of course, we have the other statesman, Anthony Nwakeme, who had 2 caps for the Super Eagles. The Trabzonspor team have unfortunately lost. After losing to Fenerbahce last week, they've effectively ended their title race hopes, but they have to lick their wounds and go again as they face 9th place Gaziantep. Onuachu has scored in every single game he's played since he returned from AFCON, and he's now the top goal scorer. So I'm sure he will love to continue the good performances. Between Onana and Go, Nwaiwu in the middle, they have such a good spine. They even have one winger like this that's eligible for Nigeria, Kazim Olaigbe. He was born and raised in Belgium, but he was at Rennes last season and they loaned him to Trabzonspor. So he's not doing as well yet, but there's a bit of a Nigeria cluster forming in Trabzonspor. So long may that continue, and we'll see where the good vibes take the Trabzonspor boys. But this one is very simple. Onuachu's team need to win the game, and Onuachu needs to be on the score sheet. Very simple. And knowing the fact that he scored in every single game since he's returned from AFCON, I think that fills me with confidence that Big Polo will be in on the goals yet again. Whew. See how I sink the light with my statement? Tricks on the live stream trades, And then finally, Villarreal play Valencia this weekend. These are 2 teams that are neighbors in that region of Spain. Sunday, 9 p.m. game. We all know about Valencia, who were giants of La Liga and European football in the early 2000s. But we know that last week, Omar Sadiq scored his first or second La Liga goal since he returned to Valencia for his second loan spell. So it's time for him to surpass and keep on the good performances, And I think this would be a perfect opportunity. It's a must-win game for both teams because Villarreal are 3rd and they need to stay above Atletico Madrid. But we know Valencia, even though they won their last game, they're only 1 point above relegation zone. So they must continue winning. I hate to say it. Actually, let's start with positive. Omar Sadiq should start this game, and I'm hoping that he can continue his goal-scoring form. But the negatives, I have to be honest, there is no way Valencia are going to beat Villarreal at home. Villarreal can be inconsistent sometimes, but their inconsistency is mainly in Europe as opposed to in La Liga. So I have to say, unfortunately, I see Omar Sadiq's team losing this match, but hopefully we can see Omar Sadiq get a goal, or maybe they can even surprise us with a draw, So those are the picks for this weekend. Of course, quite a few tasty games, especially the Osimhen one and the Lookman one especially. Those ones really excite me. I want to go. And of course, FDB. We want some good news from FDB. And Just before I move to the ones to watch as we round up the podcast, I must mention this comment by Charles again. But damn, Osimhen's pressing is something else. Guys, it is not an exaggeration to say Osimhen is the best pressing forward or attacker in football. We've seen enough evidence over the past 5 years. I hope you guys have also watched his Players Tribune, read his Players Tribune article that I released yesterday, where he talked about how he grew up and his life and how Leo did not allow him go back to Nigeria when his father was sick. So he's the only family member that did not get to talk to his father before his father passed away. Like, Osimhen has really been through a lot, man. And we've always known this, and that's why I like to be nuanced when I talk about character versus the aggressive nature at which he plays, because you can tell that Osimhen can't even believe this is his life. The fact he already reached here is already like a mark of blessing from God in his life. And he only even got the opportunity by luck when he was in Abuja. So this is a player that is very grateful for his opportunities. And honestly, I love the kind of passion Osimhen plays with. And I love the fact he even makes you understand why he went to Galatasaray or makes certain decisions already. But all I'll say is Osimhen is somebody that we should always love, which we do on this channel. In fact, I'm not sure many people have praised Osimhen more than me in the whole of Nigeria, to be honest. But my word, it was a very moving article. So we love Osimhen. We love you. Thank you for all you do and putting Nigeria on the map. And one day you're going to become Nigeria's all-time top scorer. And that World Cup, we're going to play in it. And I know even if it's just one World Cup you touch, we're going to make up for lost times. And we're still coming for AFCON and fourth AFCON. Osimhen must touch it. I wish him all the best and may he continue to flourish in his life and his career. But that being said, he's the best pressing striker in football. Take it to the bank. If Osimhen was an Arsenal player right now, all this squeaky bum time, we won't be doing it here. So Arsenal, Arteta, figure something out, man. Go and bring the money back. And all those arrogant English teams that were turning their nose up at paying Osimhen wages. That is why I can't wait for him to beat Juventus. And then he's going to play Liverpool or Tottenham. And I hope Osimhen destroys either of them. At least, even if they win Galatasaray, let Osimhen perform so well that there will be no stories or any questions. That's what I'd love to see. So shout out to Victor James Osimhen, and God bless you for all you do for Nigeria, our country, and for just the rep of our team. Look, Osimhen, if we're being honest, how often do Nigeria have world-class attackers? Since we don't want to be objective, when was the last time before Osimhen and Lookman that Nigeria can look you in the eye and tell you that we had attackers that were world-class? I didn't say very good, though. World-class. I mean, Musa was never world-class. Victor Moses was never world-class. Even Emmanuel Emenike that I absolutely love. And I love his 2-3 year cameo at the top for Nigeria, was never world-class. So you literally have to go back all the way to the Okocha times, the Finidi times, Tijani Babangida, Kanu times, before you can look at a player that was an attacker playing for the best clubs in the world. Mikel Obi was a DM, even though he came through as a number 10 for Nigeria. So I think we take for granted the kind of moments we're living in right now, where you have two players who are African Footballer of the Year and are world-class or close to world-class and play for some of the biggest clubs in the world. And that is why I want Osimhen to go and play for Arsenal or Chelsea or Man U or Barcelona, because he's clearly capable. And it's not every day you have a Nigerian striker that is that good. Yes, we have good strikers, but probably since Obafemi Martins, even Obafemi Martins was not starting for Inter Milan, even though we like to lie to ourselves. He was not starting over Crespo and Denman initially. Yes, he had moments where he would start to play, but he was never the undisputed starter for Inter. In fact, go and look at his Inter record, and you realize that a lot of Obafemi Martins' view is based on nostalgia. Victor Osimhen has done 2, 3, 4 times anything Obafemi Martins has done in his career. Whether that upsets anybody's soul or not, that is the honest truth. That is just the fact of life, whether you like it or not. So I need you guys to realize how much we are living in very special times, even as good of a country as we are, and how special we are of a country. Igalo was top goal scorer in AFCON, but he was playing for Watford. Oh, wait, I take it back. Igalo played for Man U, but that was 6 months, and we all understand. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will use him in the Europa League games. He will not play in the Prem for a reason. But Victor James Osimhen, he can start for any club in the world, take it to the bank. And that is why, even though I love the fact he loves Galatasaray, I hope this summer someone comes for the bread. Because Osimhen, we need to be watching in the Premier League. And I even hope it's London, Chelsea or Arsenal. I will carry this my bomb. I will go and watch as many games as possible, even if it's the ups. Even better if it's Arsenal, so I can be good. I can be celebrating you and celebrating my club. So, guys, do not take Osimhen for granted. And I think that's a fantastic way to almost end the podcast. So, shout out to him. And like everybody has said, exactly. Look at what Charles says. Osimhen is a source of inspiration. And that's why I wanted to see him in the World Cup. NFF, I don't care if FIFA goes against us, which is unlikely. Go to CAS. CAS is the court of arbitration for sports law. That's a funny one, Charles. Aaron said, I read the article. I'll never be against him. Exactly. If I'm being honest, Aaron also said, this is the best team Nigeria has had in a long time. Simple. It's why we're even so much more upset at the fact we're not in the World Cup. Objectively, on paper, this is the best Nigeria squad since the early 2000s, late 90s, or mid 90s. That's just the fact of the matter. And when you watch the way we played in AFCON, I think that's what makes us even more upset because we know there's no world where we should not be in the World Cup, But it is what it is, man. I like this Timmy statement. I don't think we've ever seen a striker on level of Victor. No. Maybe Rashidi Yekini. Yekini. I want to mention Yekini because unfortunately, when I started watching football properly in 1999-2000, Yekini had already declined. So I never watched Yekini in his prime with my eyes. But I know that Yekini scored 13 goals in AFCONs. 13! The nearest to him is Okocha on 7. Then Lookman on 6. Lookman is tied with, I think, Agawa. But when you watch the way Yekini was a bagsman for Nigeria, AFCON, scored our first ever World Cup goal with the celebration where he was shaking the nets. That's the only person. Even Yekini, you can say club career-wise, Osimhen has already done more, no problem. But when it comes to what you do in a Super Eagles shirt, we know Osimhen will soon break his record. But in terms of AFCON record, Osimhen now has, 5 goals in AFCONs? He's still 8 goals away from Yekini. And Yekini has World Cup goals and the iconic moments that Osimhen does not have yet. So I do agree that we've never had a striker like Osimhen in the history of Nigeria. But Yekini is still the gold standard internationally. But even NFF, this is why I hate them. Where is the Rashidi Yekini posters? Why is it so hard to find a Rashidi Yekini poster of those goals? There's no reason I should not have a Yekini. If I'm going to make it my mission to find a Yekini poster I can put somewhere, honestly. But these are the things that matter. Yekini's legacy should be celebrated, But of course, all like Osimhen, I love what Charles said. He's the highest Champions League goal scorer for Nigeria. To be honest, that record was not hard to break. This is why I say when Nigerians were being honest and realize the kind of times we're living in. Special times. Special times. Of course, we're going to miss Osimhen when he retires. So accurate, Charles. Aaron said Victor is one of the best strikers in the world. Clearly world class. Honestly, simple. And Charles said Musa and Moses were never world class. That's why they pay me. How did we miss the World Cup? Honestly, guys. Like I said, guys, forget our World Cup, man, so that you just don't let it piss you off. Elias, shout out to you, man. Good to see you, my bro. Hope you're doing well. And Osimhen is one hell of a baller, you're for sure. Adebola Oluwase Ofumi says, Baba, drop the link. Good evening. You must come on, no. I like this, your statements. No, please. Just say, Baba, drop the link for calling. Good evening. Nigerians. Anyway, the link is there. I've listened to you. So, yeah, let me quickly just let you guys know the ones to watch games for the weekend. Then we'll take maybe 1 or 2 callers to just give your thoughts. I know I've been going for over 2 hours, but I appreciate all the support. Thank you guys for watching, joining, liking. No super chats today. That's okay. But I see the likes. I see the likes now. There are 39 people watching now, and we have 34 likes. I can live with that. Oluwase Ofumi, I hope you're on. Oh. Baba, enter the chats. Let's go blow for blue. Enter the chats. Anyway, guys, to round up the podcast, just before we have any guests come on, wants to watch for this weekend, apart from the 5 games that I previewed outside of the Premier League, tomorrow, Friday night, we're going to see the Hamburg boys in action. Those of you who've been watching Filippo Telle and Jonathan Torunariga, Hamburg are in action tomorrow night away against Mainz, 8:30 p.m. Nigeria time. We're looking for Telle to continue his good start to his Hamburg career and his first time in a top 5 league. And Torunariga, we hope he starts yet again. Then on Saturday, Moses Simon's Paris FC are in desperate need of some good news and some good performances before they get sucked into the relegation zone. So they play Toulouse away at 5:15 p.m. Nigeria time. Obviously, we know Victor Osimhen's Galatasaray play Konyaspor away. Actually, we also got the Battle of Nigerians. Anthony Dennis Godsepe are going to be hosting Super Eagles captain Wilfred Ndidi's Besiktas at 6 p.m. on Saturday as well. Then beside the Libashu's Lazio go away to play Cagliari, 8:45 p.m. Nigeria time. Then, of course, on Saturday, Ademola Lookman's Atletico Madrid will be playing at home against Espanyol, 9 p.m. time, as we just previewed. Then on Sunday, we'll see the Sevilla boys play at 2 p.m. Ejike and Adams go away to play Getafe. Now, they are in desperate need of a good result. That is for sure. And then we'll see Onuachu, Nwakeme, and Waiwu's Trabzonspor play Gaziantep, 2 p.m. as well. Then it's time for Premier League action, and we'll see the Fulham boys go away to play Sunderland at Stadium of Light, 3 p.m. kickoff Nigeria time. At the very same time, we'll see the Nottingham Forest boys, Olaino and Tawaweni, host Liverpool at the City Ground at 3 p.m. Nigeria time. In fact, at that same time, we'll see Kristan's Uche's Crystal Palace host Wolverhampton, with all 3 games taking place at 3 p.m. Nigeria time on Sunday or 2 p.m. in the United Kingdom. Then we'll see Felix Agu as he made his return from injury last week. He will be in action for Werder Bremen away against St. Pauli. So really good to see him back in the fold. And he just might get caught up for the March friendlies at this point. And then, of course, we'll see Omar Sadiq's Valencia go away to play Villarreal, 9 p.m. on Sunday. Finally, on Monday, while we're doing the live stream, Maduka Okoye's Udinese will go away to play Bologna, 8:45 p.m. That is because Bologna have been playing in the Conference League tonight. And then we'll see the Pisa boys, Aki Somiro and Rafael Durosimi. 19th place plays against 18th place Fiorentina at home. Fiorentina managed to get a surprising win away against Como last week, which nobody saw coming, it must be said. So now Fiorentina are feeling pretty good about getting away from relegation zone. So we look forward to that happening. And let's see how the boys get on. But this is a very, very big game for Pisa. And let's see how everything shakes out. I will also make sure I give you guys updates around Gift Urban and if he ends up playing this weekend. So let's see what gets on or what happens with that one. So that's it for this episode of the podcast. By the way, guys, I want to let you know, yesterday we had our first ever members-only live stream. Shout out to Jackson, shout out to Da Vinci, shout out to Samuel Oneo, and everybody who was able to join the stream. I know you guys loved it. Of course, we're able to be a bit more free or speak about a few more open things. Also, it was lovely to get you guys views around how we iterate the podcast, you know, obviously the polls and the best times to do them, and also just shaping the content and realizing what brings the best value for members. So thank you so much for yesterday. It was literally me and 3 of the members just chatting football, and it was a nice detox from the Arsenal nonsense we watched earlier. So shout out to the members. If you love to join as a member, please, I'd love to have you come support us on the channel. I know I still need to record an intro video for that, but if you don't want to, it's also okay. And you continue to like, share, and subscribe and support us. That means the world. You can see all our social media channels right below. Shout out to Emika, my cousin, for the overlays. He's absolutely fantastic at them. And now we're at the road to 20K subscribers. I want to thank you guys so much. We're almost at 11,500. And it's you guys who give me the fuel to do all of this. So thank you guys so much for everything. And of course, we'll be doing a live stream again on Monday. So look out for that episode. Of course, if any of our star players do anything super, super crazy, as you saw with my Lookman, Onyedika, and Osimhen videos, I will do my best to record quick 10-minute videos here or there when I can just to give the takes, to find the balance. Because ultimately, we are a podcast. That's the idea behind this channel and this show. But I love to have a church that serves everybody, both those that like the short content, long content, middle ground, sometimes long, sometimes not. We appreciate you all. So shout out to everybody. And I want to say a big, big thank you for all the support. It means the world. Are there any other comments I have not yet mentioned just before we speak to our one guest so far? Charles says the kind of records he sets in Italy was closely to Maradona. Yeah. Oh my God. I wish I could show you guys something. I know I've said it 100 times, but like I said, I went to Napoli on the day I booked. Me and my friend Tolu. You guys remember Tolu from AFCON group stage? We knew when Napoli were about to win the title 3 years ago. We booked our tickets in February. We were looking at the games like, it looks like they will beat Udinese. Then their next home game was going to be, I think, Fiorentina at home. So we booked tickets to go watch Napoli against Fiorentina because we knew at that point in 2023, it would have been, how long was the wait? 25 years. No, more than. Since 1989. Olu, what's wrong with your maths? 30 years old plus 4. 34 years. We knew it would have been 34 years since Napoli had won the Scudetto. And we just wanted to experience the atmosphere for ourselves because we knew Naples was a one-club city. There's only a few of them in Europe. Naples, Newcastle, Leeds. You know, they're not too often. But we booked our tickets to make sure that we were at the game at the Maradona Stadium. By the way, guys, all the stadiums in Italy are useless except Juventus Stadium. If you see this Naples Stadium, yes, on TV it looks all right, but the whole place is run down. Even the toilets. Like, they have people coming to bring you drinks in like kiosks. Like, you know, those American... It makes Premier League stadiums look like another planet. But, my word, the experience, the atmosphere, I have never seen... I didn't even know it's possible for Italians to love a black man that much. Osimhen pictures everywhere. Osimhen spritz. I wish I ever had some pictures. Maybe I'll take some pictures from my phone and save them on my computer so I could show you next time. Bro, Osimhen spritz. I bought Osimhen socks. I bought Osimhen bobblehead. I bought so many artifacts of Victor Osimhen. I didn't even know it was possible. You see literally murals of Maradona. Beside Maradona is Osimhen's picture. And then the number 3, because that was their 3rd Scudetto. Obviously, they won it again last year, so I don't know what that was like. But I've never experienced a football atmosphere of joy like that in my life. The parades, the partying. They even did a full-on concert in the stadium after the game. And Osimhen scored, so I heard them do, Victor! 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 I saw all of that, man. Like, it's like nothing I've ever seen, man. John says, was Balotelli not loved? I'm not sure Balotelli was loved like that too. They liked him for 1 year because he did good things for them in Euro 2012. But we all know the kind of racism he had to face in that same Italy and the problems he had. Oh, I'm even speaking more for Napoli because that's one I can say with my chest. But honestly, like, the things he did, that Charles statement about Maradona makes a lot of sense. And Aaron says, I want to see Fiorentina's nice grounds in the Serie B. Did Fiorentina get relegated like 10 years ago or something like that at the Ademola Frankie? I'm not really sure I want Fiorentina to suffer that bad, but hey, I want my Nigerian players to remain in the Serie A. That's all I know. So we'll see what happens with that one. Tyrell says, Barcelona fans are really calling for Osimhen signing. Don't think they can afford his wages. I agree, they can't afford him. Barcelona, all this Alvarez, Osimhen, with which money? The chicken is still coming to roost about this, your economic levers FC. You know, so they should face their fronts. Osimhen, come to England, please. Honestly, that's from a selfish standpoint. That's what I want. That is my desire. But anyway, thank you guys so much. Honestly, we've been rambling and talking for a long time. I want to say a big, big thank you to everybody. I appreciate you guys. Charles said, Lord, Baka Stadium, what, Spotify Camp Now? It's a good stadium, but I went to Camp Nou myself in 2017 to watch a Barcelona match. I saw Messi and Neymar. That was a great bucket list experience, man. I saw Messi score. But guys, do not be deceived. Barcelona's atmosphere is shit. That day, the whole stadium was just like a big bowl. And it was just quiet. So when I heard this Barca stadium and this one, that one, even their stadium, we'll see what the renovated version is like. And I got to visit the Bernabeu just before they reopened it 2 years ago. So let's see where Osimhen ends up. I don't mind Barcelona or Madrid, but I'll be honest, in England, we have to go out of our way to watch La Liga. It's not like Super Sports that La Liga is on TV, Premier League's on TV. I have to go and pay special £15 a month to watch La Liga. So I have to watch it, although they put some games on my TV4 from time to time, so we see what's going on. But anyway, thank you guys so much. Much love. I will get Chelle on to quickly talk for 1 minute or 2 minutes. John says Madrid, so bench Mbappe. We know that Mbappe has accepted this is striker job for Madrid. But we all know in Mbappe's heart of hearts, he wants to play as a left winger. Do you know see what he posted the other day where he put Marcus Thuram's picture and Dembele's picture? That was him telling the shops, I'm the captain. This is what you should start. I don't want to see Elise or Desiree do it. So we all know the dictator himself would rather play on the left wing, but honestly, I don't want him to go to Real Madrid either. Either come to the Premier League or face Barcelona, or Juventus. Could he be the one that will lead them back to glory? Juventus are by far the biggest club in Italy. That's why I don't want to rule it out. In fact, they're the only team in Italy that makes significant revenue from their stadium, because they're the only team in Italy that actually own their stadium and have a modern stadium which they built recently to be able to modernize and make revenues. So let's see what happens. But once again, I will say bye-bye for the last time. But let's get Chelle on quickly to give his thoughts quickly. Chelle, welcome. I'm going to give you 2-3 minutes, and then we'll round up this podcast so everybody can have a wonderful evening. Okay. Welcome.
What's up? How are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic, my bro.
First of all, find the your market on Wednesday.
Oh, bro, we already spoke about it now. Like, it's all good. Like I said, for us, but Sparta not important thing. Like, Bata can enter me, but trust me, I've said my trust with us now. If it's Nigeria,
I told you, be careful. That by the way.
You did say though.
Think about my research too. Talking about the research situation.
Yeah.
The church should be careful.
Mm-hmm.
You should be careful what he demanding for. For remember this Pesero stagger. When he left Nigeria for Allah, he just spent like two months before he was sacked. And the church just maintain decorum. As for reasonable thing, get the salary like $100,000. Get that one. Get better 20 facility, that's true, and get the proper office and apartment in Nigeria. That's about it. I can get that, but the rest should be careful because NFL are not serious people. Point to which is paid to.
But just to clarify, you don't think any of his demand, because I don't think any of his demands are unreasonable. So just to check, I don't think it's unreasonable.
As a good foreign nation, it doesn't that demand is what is right. But for Nigerian level right now, we can't afford the business. That's fact. We can afford to give him that office is very important.
But I'll be honest, I think they could if they really wanted to. They just don't. They're just lazy. And also, just before you continue, the one thing Eric Chelle already has over Pesero in 5, 6, 7 AFCON games, I watched Eric Chelle perform in a way. Yes, Pesero took us to a final, and we'll give him the credit for that. But nobody can look me in the eye and tell me Nigeria played better in Ivory Coast than we played in Morocco.
No.
And also, Pesero is the one that started Kelechi Iheanacho as a winger and played a 4-4-2 and made us draw against Lesotho. That was not even Finidi. That was Pesero. Pesero is the one that made us draw against Zimbabwe and Lesotho. So just to clarify that, right. Eric Chelle's benefit.
That's right. I'm not saying that everybody sit down and come down to common ground. Let's go common ground. That Eric Chelle must stay in Nigeria. Must continue working for Nigeria. Let's say apart from Senegal and Morocco, no African is better than Nigeria.
That's facts. That's facts.
So where is he going to? Cote d'Ivoire or Ghana? That begging to play for them. No, she will understand that you want to make in Africa, make it in Nigeria. Just be stay in the common ground and win the trophy for Nigeria. Let's win that tomorrow. About the World Cup issue, for me, it's 50-50. Whatever happens, I take it like that because that is so. We cannot not touch her. Best of luck. But I think I'll time to do that game again.
Thank you. Well, you think we'll win?
The draw win.
No, I didn't win. A draw's not good enough.
You know what? The pressure can feel the pressure. On normal, they stand normally. Yet they will not do that. Just the game. That game. They will not just the game. They will not draw. On normal, they will not do that game. They will not draw that game. I'm very sure. The players coming up. That's the fact. See you next week. Stay down.
Thank you so much. My last question from you, Chelle. Give me Chelsea's result now. You two, you have a game against Burnley. Just give me your Chelsea-Burnley prediction.
Burnley, the young team. I think game will tough. But Chelsea 1-0 or 2-1 win.
Oh, fair. So even closer than I predicted. But I agree. You
because,
guys are...
Because Chelsea right now are just like they're not hotel like that too. They're like your team.
I see what you mean.
But they don't win.
You win for sure. You win for sure. I think that one is fair.
Yeah,
but I think at the very least, thank you so much for your comments. Thank you for always supporting. Thank you for always coming along. Much love, my bro. And we'll end the podcast there. I guess the positive news for everybody who watches Premier League is just the fact that at the end of the day, it's been an interesting Premier League season. I think we can say that for the whole league, apart from, I was going to say apart from Wolves, but even Wolves are provided entertainment against Arsenal. So what a Premier League. I mean, what a joyful competition to watch, you know. And I just want to say a big thank you to everybody for giving me your time, the effort, for commenting, for engaging. I'm telling you guys, I've been doing this for over 5 years. And for the first 4 years, I used to beg people for comments to help me steer the pod or anything. So you guys don't know how much this means to me. And I want to just say thank you guys so much. May God continue to bless you all. Everybody have a wonderful weekend and Friday. Whether it's your jobs, whether it's your family, whether it's friends, may everybody be blessed and let everybody have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy all the football. Of course, enjoy. We'll come and recap again on Monday. Hopefully, I'll be smiling more, which means Arsenal would have won. But I pray that whatever everyone desires in their personal lives comes to fruition. Have a wonderful rest of the month. And thank you guys so much for all the support, for liking, for sharing, for subscribing, for giving me your time. As I've said, I'm Oluoke, your host. We're here always, and we'll keep bringing you this content back to back. Remember when I drop working on our channels, and make sure you subscribe if you're new here. Like the video just before you leave, and have an absolutely wonderful Friday and weekend. Thank you guys so much, and God bless you all. Have a great weekend, Elias. Have a great weekend, Aaron. Thank you guys so much for the comments and for always engaging. And thank you so much to every single person that's taken the time to put this on your screen and taking the time to watch. It means the world. And may God continue to bless you guys. Have a wonderful weekend, my people. And I'll see you on the next episode. Peace out. Take care. And ciao, ciao.